Too bad you can't make stairs out of bone. That's not very dwarfy, though. That's very goblin-y. Goblins would want to do that. So now we need to clean up the corpses of those 2 that were just killed by Rum-Rums, which is a damn shame. Damn shame. Because no intelligent dwarves that have been found dead is a good dwarf. No intelligent creatures found dead that were members of our faction is good. All of that is really bad. I was sitting here thinking, man, I don't think you can make obsidian stairs. I was sitting here thinking, man, it's a shame I can't use adamantine to make stairs. No, what I was thinking about doing is using iron to dig down into the underworld. Iron stairways. That's pretty metal. I mean, I could mod the raws and use those, but eh. But first, we got to get all these bodies cleared up. Real bloody shame. Dwarven girls be like, diamonds are forever? You know, it's impossible for anyone to say diamonds are forever around me without me immediately thinking about the song Diamonds Are Not Forever. Because I used to listen to way too much Suicide Silence. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna turn around and throw memes at you. You know, one day, Diamond, if you leave this channel and stop watching this stream, I'm gonna send you Rick Astley and remind you that you said that you were never gonna give me up. But you betrayed me. All right, so what we're going to do here, I need to find one way that we're going to dig. Diamonds are monetary, memes are eternal. I mean, I suppose. All right, so I think this is going to be the route that we're going to dig. I'm going to go down here. I'm just going to use whatever materials, it really doesn't matter. And I'm going to make upstairs here. Going to make up downstairs using the wrong hotkey right here. And going to make a downstair right here. Also going to fill this in with a block. So this actually let's go one higher. Let's go one higher. Can be an up down stair. This can be an up down stair, and this can be a down stair. And this is going to be the level that we go to. Those are the wrong button, Greg. Let's go all the way back up to here. Of course, I'm going to round off all of these corners. So many stairs. Stairs, so many stairs. I didn't even need stairs. All right, so we're going to also, real quick, do this at a higher priority. I'm also going to Make a bunch of dwarves into miners that aren't currently miners, because damn it, I'm going to need them. All right. Memes from the 1400 aren't shares anymore. Does that mean that they're dead? Memes didn't exist in the 1400. There were jokes in the 1400s. Mace, 2. Painting up Harum-Harums. Damn right. I wonder what Harum-Harums thinks of the chaining. Oh, where the hell did you go? In the middle of nowhere, it looks like. Alright, you can have mining. You can have mining. You have mining. You can have mining. You, as in, like, you can have mining. You can also have mining. Guess what? You can have mining. Hey, laddie, you want a new job? Guess what? It's now mining. At least the 1400s had swag. I don't think you know anything about what the 1400s were like because you were never there. Not to, like, you know, make a controversial statement or anything, but if you weren't there, how do you really know? All right, there we go. Dwarves get to start digging. All we know is the stories that are told about the 1400s and the stories that were written. I don't know how close to reality any of that is. Which is to our detriment and for the best. I prefer things that sit for instead of stand for. Although, what is your swag acronym at your company? I'm also kind of curious. We found emeralds. So this is going to be the very long tunnel in which I'm going to trap the undead. Worst case scenario, if they do somehow manage to get through it, which they won't, they will make their way up to the surface. When they hit the surface, we will kill them anyway. But then we will later go around them and, you know, go back down into hell far away from them. And winter's upon us, so the game is saving. Some wild-ass guess. It's the first step in your work estimation project. Sounds like you work in expensive projects. Also, I tend to agree that acronyms are very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Hopefully I don't dig through an aquifer. That would be unfortunate. And we're done saving. Really need to change the save so that it stops, like, you know, pausing the game. Ever seasonal saves happen? Because I really don't like that feature. I don't know why I turned it on for this one. Shoutouts to the happy mom dwarf here carrying Erdim, her child, while mining. Did these get canceled? No, they didn't. They're still working on them. We can also seal this off right here. Do that next, once all this stuff's done. We'll still be able to get out the bottom here. Ab is throwing a temper tantrum. Good lord, dwarves. Okay, so who's... cleaned up then? Where the heck's Hrumhrums? Where the heck's Hrumhrums? Are you found dead too? Mysteriously? Huh. I'm not seeing him anywhere. Weird. Who's excited about Fiery Doom? Who is? I mean, I personally am very excited about Fiery Doom. It's much better than slow, boring Existence Doom, frankly. Like, if you had the option between Fiery Doom and, like, the Quiet Boredom Doom, Fiery Doom seems optimal, if I had to take a stance. I don't know how popular a take that's going to be in the future, but... How's the dwarves treating me tonight? The dwarves are doing fine. As for the Satan spawn that we just did a very effective job of murdering, them not so much. Now we are currently in the process of building a very, very, very long tunnel for them to very quickly die in. Or maybe not quickly, but for them to die in. We're trying to imprison the demons. But in order to do that, we have to get down into the underworld and remove what's left. Which currently is, you know, these guys sitting there. But then we're going to need to dig down into here, make a hallway all the way down to the bottom of that. Is there a Doom sound command? No. Why would there be a Doom sound command? Speaking of Doom, a vile force of darkness has arrived. No. They are not capable of becoming undead, because they're not living entities, technically. They're immortal undead entities. Right, so goblins have arrived to play. So we're going to slam my drawbridges shut. Get all the dwarves back upstairs. Well, let's see what they send. So this is the first goblin siege of today, but we've already killed, what, 2 forgotten beasts and, like, 80 demons or something? But Smithy showed up, so I assume that's what caused the incoming goblin siege of what looks like goblins and beak dogs? Currently is goblins and beak dogs. Maybe we'll get some ogres later. Maybe we'll get some trolls. Maybe a few blizzard men as well. All of those things would be exciting. The doors have been slammed shut, which is optimal. The side door is open. And I can pull the center lever. It's quite a few goblins. Oh, that's nothing. So I have the game set so that it can send raids of up to 650, which makes the game a little framey, but also makes the sieges very big and exciting, which I'm a big fan of. Big and exciting sieges. So I've seen them be much bigger than this. I mean, currently it's what, 100? This is tiny. There's like 110 of them currently. Like, that's nothing. But it'll keep growing. This is how I've ended up with a couple of like the most like not insane but massive sieges. On this map. Like the biggest one I think I had was there was about 700 extra entities on the map. Yeah, the first siege was absolutely epic. The one where I had no defenses set up and we had to fight them manually, yeah, it was pretty epic. I think that might be it. Yeah, this is a pretty small one. Pretty small. Just some trolls, a couple beak dogs, goblins. Oh no, we haven't run out. Dude, earlier today I looked at how much metal I had, and then I started melting down another round. 4,296 iron, and that's just from previous raids. That's just from previous raids. Metal craft anyone? I hadn't actually thought about it, but maybe. You're not breaking the immersion. All good. You are all good. Metal crafts encrusted with bone? Yeah, no. I was talking about this earlier. I don't generally do encrusting because there's, like... It's one of those things that I find to be just way too fiddly. Be worth it. Especially considering it usually just kind of breaks. The jobs almost always break while they're incomplete. I don't know. I find them annoying. They're kind of neat, but... If I were to do encrusting, I'd encrust them with demon bone. Because, I mean, you know, I was showing this off earlier, but those are all dead demons in here. Like, demon, 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 and demon. Are you stuck? No, you're just moving really slowly. And you're stuck trying to pick up equipment. Holly golly, thanks for the raid. Hope your fort was good. Stare at your thumbnails all the time. At some point I need to go watch one of your VODs and see what your forts look like. But cheers. Thanks a lot. Chat, can I get a round of beers for Holly golly? Go give them a follow if you want to see more dwarves. This dwarf's moving real slow. Partially because the game was paused. Alright, let's see. Where are these goblins at? Getting close. Can torch these ones. Their donations to the metal drive will be greatly appreciated. El Naso, hello! This is good to see you. Are there just tons of arrows on the ground? So this is a good biome, but because I'm a little bit enthusiastic about lava, I've burned it all and it never grew back. So that's not arrows. That's burned ground, literally scorched earth. It originally looked like this, like good biomes usually do, but currently it's just scorched earth. We also we dug too deep today, so we have, like, you know, we probably killed about 100 demons in that hallway. A lot of them made of snow and steam and ash, but some of them made out of scarier materials. So that's what we're, you know, working on, is slowly digging out a very long corridor so that we can then make a very careful staircase so that we can then hopefully let the rest of the demons out and trap them all in a very long corridor and either kill them one group at a time or simply set them all on fire. They all died, though. I mean, they eventually came out of the lava and we killed them. But, yeah, if you're worried about Underworld-related spoilers, well, let's just say they're right there. So, but like we reenacted the Dwarf Fortress intro movie, moment for moment. But yeah, we got this cute little raid of goblins that we're gonna get to torch in a moment. But I hope that your stream was good, and I hope that the dwarves were entertaining. And thank you very much for sending people over my way once again. One sec? 1,000. What now? One 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. There, you had 3 more. Have you received enough seconds yet? The thing is, seconds and time itself is a constant gift. You can choose to use it wisely if you want. The question is how's Diamond using his seconds that I just gave him? Very important question. Oh, you're turning on the host? Ah, okay, I getcha. I getcha. So let's send the Gilded Messiahs right there to deal with the trolls. Troll seems to have found our... What are the yellow double hyphens? Sand. Yellow sand. Or tildes, I guess, not hyphens. Squiggly hyphens. Could this siege be led into hell? Sure, with a lot more stairs and, like, routing, which I don't feel like doing. I would also have to give hell access to the surface, which I really don't want to do. Because I would like to actually have a chance of beating hell, not the other way around. If I could have some sort of, like, controlled... pathing setup, maybe I could like trap them somewhere where they could be led to hell, but currently I think that would actually be more risk than it's worth. Because like giving them access to the surface in and of itself is like which I don't really want to do. Like that's something that we want to avoid at like all costs pretty much. Ooh, that goblin hit the one weapon trap that's still left. Look at this guy. This guy's had rough days. Oof, looked painful. All right, well, almost all of them are in. Almost all of them are in. We just need that last squad at the back there to be moved up. A cat was found dead. Well, that's a damn shame. Not like one dwarf. No, it's like 5 dwarves. Okay. Get them, boys. Look at them. Just like stomping through all of those trolls. You know, after fighting with the literal hellfire, I'll bet you these dwarves are just like, whew, it's nice to have an easy adversary. Jeez. I mean, like, come on. After killing like this dwarf's killed butterfly demons. Udil right here. Literally a demon slayer. It's like almost unarmed trolls. Not a problem. Not a problem. It's time to sanitize the floor of that hallway. I mean, one thing at a time, though. They're still cramming through. I like how split up they are. They sent all the trolls up first. Actually quite nice. There goes the last few of the trolls. almost... Are they turning around? Nope, they're not. Not all of them, just some of them. Some of them are a bunch of dirty cowards. That's the usual, though, for goblins. All right, let's pull the back lever. And pull the front lever. You don't trust your dwarves to survive, so give them more opportunities to survive. I mean, like, fully decked out military that's well trained can win fights against demons. It's just difficult. No, that's the one that's lying down right now on the drawbridge. I don't know if he's going to live. Oh, no, he's going to live. Damn. All right, it's shut. And the exit's about to be shut. I can go up here and we can pull this lever now. And we can end their station. There it goes. Now we just have to wait for somebody to pull the topside lever. And we can sanitize the floor in this hallway. This is my defensive mechanism for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. We just have to wait. There it is. It's a very quick self-cleaning hallway. A very efficient self-cleaning hallway. Spicy water go, yeah. And then I can go in here and I can turn off my burrow and I can let the dwarves just go do their thing. The beak dogs all start panicking because their owners all have disappeared. And the rest of them are like, Molten Rock go burr. I don't know if it goes burr, it's more like schlorp. Or like... Seems to be the sounds that it makes from a distance. Bubble sounds. You know, that kind of stuff. Ten out of 10 folly. Well, thank you. I mean, I've been practicing making sounds with my mouth for literally years of my life at this point, so. Thanks for tuning in today, Aqua. It's nice to see you as always. I mean, seriously. Thanks, man. Where be the nice cyan clouds? I don't know if we're going to get any cyan clouds, though, because none of the, Oh, actually, no, there is some trolls back here. Maybe we will see nice cyan clouds. But most of the trolls died up on this side, so. Although, actually, I could leave the dwarves in the burrow for right now. And I could pull this lever for a little bit to deal with some of those bodies up there. You'll settle for red clouds. I mean, you'll definitely get red clouds. You're coaching some peeps. Well, you have a good night. Keytracks, thanks for hanging out as well. I just got to say, if you find yourself awake at times of the day when the stream is not on, I have a podcast. If you want to hear me talk about other video games with people who like talking about video games, you can do that there. So we're using this as like an automated cleanup system. I'm just going to have to pull it before it starts flooding my fort. Let's pause the game real quick and just see how deep is this. Okay, let's let that go for maybe another 10 seconds. If you love Gremlins, vote Gremlin. Sure. Let's pause this. Pull this. That's sealed. That's enough flow there to deal with most of those bodies. Last few are catching fire now. Some hot lava. Most lava is generally pretty hot. I'm no expert in lava science, but I'm pretty sure that most lava is pretty hot. Okay, so that's going to stop flowing now. That time, Diamond. Alrighty, chat room, say goodnight to Diamond, if you haven't already. Also, I have a question. Soap in bed Or bed made out of soap. Why not let some dwarves fight them? You mean the goblins? I did. And we killed them. Clearly you missed the part where, like, we murdered all of these trolls on the side. Also because I only have 99 dwarves left and we're never getting another migrant, so. Come on, smash him. Smash him. Oh, it's because I gotta pull this lever first, duh. Come on, smash him. But yeah, I mean, I've set this trap up so that the dwarves have to fight with some goblins or trolls or whatever runs ahead. There you go. That's what you love to see. Hey, a dwarf's been taken by a Fey mood. All right, well, in that case, I will turn off the restrictions. But yeah, it's literally designed so that we have to fight some of them, so. Not sure why that question is relevant. There is red mist. Everybody's favorite red mist. There's more. And Aleth has claimed a crafts workshop. One of my favorite comments on that short of just like trolls exploding into cyan mist was someone saying, note to self, burn goblins and trolls with lava because it's pretty. Like, yeah. Yeah, also, in regards to letting them fight, CCJ, my dwarves today already killed easily a few dozen demons. So frankly, I think that they did just fine. I think this dwarf right here, Rumrums, needs to be given their own squad. And told to go stand right there. You've killed too many of my dwarves and you just tantrumed again. Maybe the thing that gets you to play the game again before the Steam release? What, blood being pretty? What demons? Demons from the underworld? These guys? Literal demons. You know, from the hidden fun stuff down in the basement, as the kids who are allergic to spoilers calls it. Never actually built a lava defense system? Why not? It's so satisfying and easy and efficient. They're not forgotten beasts. Forgotten beasts are forgotten beasts. No, demons come from down here. From hell. Stuff is burning. It's okay. That's all you really need to worry about. The literal demons that come from actual hell. If I was talking about forgotten beasts, I would have said forgotten beasts. Oh, we're chaining them up? Actually, that's perfect. Let's go put this dwarf into prison. Do you play Dwarf Fortress, Bedsoap? Because if you don't, feel free to just ask questions about like what it is you're looking at. Why did you just cancel the job where you were, you know, putting the guy who murdered people into prison? Besides, he needs 29 days in prison. What the hell, man? That's in the way of the novice players? The thing about this game is once you figure out how to type, it's not bad at all. Glimmering, etc. Do I know how to get them? Yes. Do I have them in this fortress currently? No. You have to get them via adventure mode. Although, I have a feeling that's going to change in the next version of the game. All right, you lazy bastard. Are you going to go, like, chain up that dwarf? There you go. Go chain up the dwarf now. That's what I need you to do. And then I can lock the door. Are creatures who escape the spires? I don't know where you heard that lore from, but no, that is not the lore. Also, most lore in Dwarf Fortress is made up by fans and not actually lore. Especially considering every single world is unique, and they're not even remotely connected. You chain this dwarf up? That or I'm just going to expel him. Trying to attend a meeting. Just gonna make you leave. I'm tired with you. But no, the demons down below are brutes and demons. They are creatures from before time. Forgotten beasts are also creatures from before time, but they are not demons. Forgotten beasts are beasts that are better left forgotten, whereas demons are literal Satan spawned from the underworld. Also, how deep is this? Pretty shallow. Okay. So no, they are not forgotten beasts. They are brutes. Are one-of-a-kind creatures from the older world itself, but demons are the ones that escape the spires? No, because like the demons that escape the spire, the demons that escape the spires are the ones that can command the goblins, right? Whereas demons that never went into the spires in the first place are the ones that live in the underworld. And they're not forgotten beasts because they can breed. If you let them sit there long enough, eventually you'll start to see, like, Butterfly Brute has given birth to triplets. Applewood logs, 3 pieces of wood, 2 pieces of iron, and some malachite, and some unicorn bone. That's going to be a boring artifact, but I'll take it. Oh, somebody caught fire. That's not good. Big idiot. Thought I just forbid all of this so you guys would stop doing that. I guess not. Next, I'm going to have to lock them indoors. You know, honestly, the thing about the first anvil discussion, I don't care. Like, and I guess that's kind of where my take on that whole discussion begins and ends is I learned a long time ago, I really don't care. I fought. Did you mean to say I fought or I thought? Because yes, I fought the underworld. And we won. But we won the first fight, rather. We're currently in phase 2 of the fighting. Phase 1 is pretty simple. Phase 1 is simply just fend them back. Phase 2 is finish them off, or finish the job, I suppose. So phase 1, we've completed. And they are locked in here. Oh, looks, there's a ghost. Pogsack's ghost. And this is phase 2. We've fought with the underworld. So we're going to try and seal the second part. We fought with like 80 demons. Right down here. This obviously has a bunch of other things in it, but these are all demons. These are all dead demons, bits and pieces of demons. Although a lot of them are gone already because we butchered a bunch of them. So, you know, one thing at a time. And we're digging out this, which is going to be a really long hallway that I'm going to trap them in. How do you deal with web spitters? You stab them with a sword. Only 2 of the different demons shot webs, and we killed both of them. You kill them the exact same way you kill with everything. I'm eating hell? Well, the endgame plan is to eat in hell. We want to dine in hell. I want to make a tavern in hell. But yes, the general preferred way of dealing with web spitters is with a sharp object. Preferably one you're proficient with wielding. Also, you need to remember that web-spitting demons, same with web-spitting forgotten beasts, are nowhere near as scary as web-spitting spiders. And the reason for that is spiders have paralyzing venom. So they stab you with a thing that you can't avoid, or they catch you in a thing that you can't avoid, the webs, and then they stab you when you can't avoid it, the venom, and then they kill you, right? And there's no way around it once you've been webbed. Because demons don't have that, because they don't also have poisonous bite, their spiders are actually scarier than web-spitting demons. Unless they're made out of, like, glass or steel or iron or stone or something that's, like, pretty robust. But because, like, these ones are just, like, they're just butterflies. They're not that bad. But yeah, generally, if you want to remove a thing from the realms of the living, you stabby it in the flabby. Find the flabby and hit him in the stabby. Hit him with the stabby. Okay, how deep is this? Pretty deep still. Okay. What about spider demons? I haven't seen any. Actually, that's not true. There are flaming tarantulas in the basement. Usually, spider forgotten beasts and spider demons don't necessarily, because they only get the one bonus, right? So if you're fighting against, let's just say, a flaming spider demon, it's going to shoot fire. It's not going to shoot webs. If you're fighting against a forgotten beast spider that has deadly spittle, it'll have deadly spittle, not webs, right? Forgotten beasts don't have abilities by default. Like, it could be a non-flying pterodactyl, right? It could be a non-flying bird. They're not guaranteed to have that ability just because they have that archetype, right? So if it's a spider-type demon, it doesn't necessarily have all the spider abilities. It could be a spider-type demon that has webs, and then that's basically that. But then it still doesn't have the poisonous bite because it's just a spider-type demon that doesn't also have that, right? When will it get off my door? When it finishes drying up. The stoneworker has created Sakat Atrier, a malachite scepter, and claims it as an heirloom. I don't really care. It's not that valuable. On the item is an image of a Sounderbar, the dwarf, and Nagoking Thiefbite, the goblin, in Applewood. Sounderbar is making a plaintive gesture, and Nagoking Thiefbite is laughing. The artwork relates to the mortal wounding of Aton Sounderbar by the goblin Nagoking Thiefbite in the Copper Battle in Threatdweller in the early spring of 226. Umu's Mogals. The attack of crazies. Sure. The lava will get off my door when it's done drying. Fucking goblins being all annoying while we're fighting Hellspawn. And that's what they engrave? Yep. Honestly, I think the goblins should steal that one. So this will plop us down to here. And with this, we will be able to mostly finish sealing off this side. And then if I finish sealing off the top side, then all I need to do is remove the constructed floors down there, and we'll be able to move further down. Yeah, no, they hit the stab with the flab, and then they bleed to death. That's how that works. Also, this doesn't have anything to do with anything, but apparently Kit Fox updated the Steam page for Dwarf Fortress 4 hours ago. But I can't figure out what they changed. So. But they be working. They probably fixed like a single word or something. It says that the description was edited. It could also mean that like they accidentally edited it and then unedited it. I have I receive push notifications to my phone. I can automate through that, and we can also automate through this. I get to dig out all the extra bits of the adamantine spires. Because I know that these are all safe. How convenient is that? Look at that. Can also dig out all this. It's fantastic, really. All this free candy, yep. Furnace Opry has been missing for a week. What a goddamn shame. This queen's gone a little nuts, I think. Desperately wanting us to be grand and glorious. But yeah, apologies if this fort is kind of hard to follow visually. This is like endgame Dwarf Fortress. So if you're not used to staring at this game visually, it's kind of like the equivalent of being told, hey, you're going to play Civilization now. Also, you have no idea what Civilization looks like. You know? It's like being told to win in endgame Civ 6 when you've never played a Civilization game or a 4X before. If you haven't played this game before and you're just looking at it right now and I'm flying around between all these different levels and it looks like a mess, that's why. So, just apologies for that, I suppose. You're ignoring her and fighting Hellspawn? I mean, I'm not ignoring her. I'm still making her maces when she demands them. So I'm not entirely ignoring her. But we are certainly fighting Hellspawn. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to go up to here. Too many dwarves. We actually have about half the number of dwarves I could potentially have in here at this point. Because we've received, like, well, we've had some pretty major losses in the past little bit, for one thing. The losses have been pretty brutal, I'm not gonna lie. What is this switchback tunnel? So this is going to be a really long tunnel that leads to hell. And I'm going to put a lot of bait and a lot of traps in it. And then I'm going to make a very, very long staircase so that the demons, if they feel brave, could venture down into the very long tunnel. And then after that, we are going to trap them all in this tunnel, or as many of them as possible in this tunnel, and then walk around them into hell. It's a tower defense path? Yes. That's absolutely what it is. It's dwarven engineering is what it is. It's showing demons that we're smarter than them. Little did they know that I once played StarCraft Brood War, and tower defense games are pretty fun. I trained my entire maybe not my entire, part of my childhood for this. right, so I kind of don't like the way this pointy corner down here looks. Let's do this. Let's do that. That looks okay. What do you think? Or getting rid of the ones that you... So, no, not the entity limit. So more can spawn at the edge of the map, right? But, because I'm in a region of the world, we will eventually hit a point where all of the demons in the region of the world that this fortress is in will be dead, or the majority of them will be dead anyway. And when we get to that point, we can then... Perfect. And when we get to that point, we can then... not safely, but begin to try and settle and make some constructions down in hell, which is the goal. Is to build like a tavern in hell. They'd affectionately call it the liver. As somebody who's not a Brit, I have no idea what the Brits would do. I mean, Diamond left. Of course the bot's gonna make you all lose. But my goal is to make this shit look as cool as possible in the process, so... Because that is true to... So, chat, some of you may know this, right? Some of you might not. But anybody who's played the video game known as Warframe will have heard of something called Fashion Frame. Dwarf Fortress Endgame is exactly that. It's fashion. Except instead of just being fashion, it is fortress design fashion. So, Endgame Dwarf Fortress is just making your fort look as cool as fucking possible. Encrusting things with gems, you know, making fancy weapons, getting the king and queen in your fort, that kind of shit. You know, look at all this lovely adamantine that we're hauling up. These fancy little metals. I've got so many dwarves I need to memorialize. I'm pretty sure I queued up, it was like 100 slabs not too long ago, so. You have a building in London that's a tapering cylinder with a rounded top known as the gherkin, the pickle. I'm assuming that's what that means. Well, in Canada, we have a really big, flat, boring city with a terrible airport and a big, tall tower that they all think is really cool for some reason. So, you know. Being honest with you, I never fully understood why. Yes, the CN Tower. It's literally just like one giant fucking phallic dick joke. Let's go mostly up to the surface. And there we go. We've now got an entrance from the surface. That's in a spot that we can defend easily. I mean, of course, it's neat, but... I don't know. They were just saying they have a big tower called the Pickle. We have a giant tower that's literally a like a waste of everybody's but, you know. It's just like the Space Needle in Seattle in reality. I also just everybody in Canada who doesn't live in Toronto hates Toronto. For how expensive it must have been to build. I mean, it was the tallest building in the world, and until the like fucking Dubai was all like, "Do you want to see a bigger dick?" That's basically what they did, and then they built a bigger dick. It's Tower of Babel all over again. Well, at the very least, you know, I don't have many nice things to say about Toronto, but at the very least, the CN Tower has sewage. Burj Khalifa doesn't. Spelling might be off. I think you got the second half right. I don't know about the first half. Also not that impressed. You know, honestly, the best part about the hold on, let's shit. This is the best thing to exist because of the Burj Khalifa. That is Tom Cruise sitting on top of it with no shoes on. That's the best thing to happen. For whatever it's worth, he's wearing a safety harness and it's going straight down behind that thing. Yeah, it turns out it was correct, but yeah. That's the best part about that thing's existence. Is that stunt happened. I'm just way more amused by that stunt than I probably should be, honestly. Yeah. Shoutouts to your memory. To be fair, it's also kind of spelled the way it sounds. Looks like the gnomes are walking by once again. Looks like you just died of poison in your first Jupiter Hell run of a year. How far did you get? To be fair, if you haven't played the game in a year, poison has gotten a massive set of buffs. Poison is a little bit redonk. There's ways to avoid it, but man. Speaking of gnomes, my mom has acquired a rather large collection of garden gnomes because she went over to this local yard sale that her neighbor was having. And she just had like 50 gnomes, and my mom bought a bunch of them. And I'm super jealous. I really, really want just like a little army of garden gnomes. Like, literally just endgame blind is weird dude with long hair who never leaves his house, has a massive garden, and just like a huge collection of garden gnomes in that garden. Because I don't know why, I kind of love garden gnomes. They're so pointless, but they're just kind of neat. I don't know. I love the weirdly dark lore surrounding them. I like gnomes. Gnomes are fun. Well, this is going to take a long time to complete. So I'm just going to give a bunch of extra dwarves mining. Pele, you can have mining. Frog, you already have mining. You can have mining. You can have mining. Everybody gets a mining pick. Hey, dwarves, do you like to mine? Bloody well better. Let's follow Simtaxagon up top here. You'd do that, but you'd also have those plastic pink flamingos for the meme. See, I'm not a big fan of plastic pink flamingos, so I'd have to pass on that, but I am a big fan of, like, nicely made, stone carved garden gnomes. I love the ones with the little red hats, because it means that they murdered somebody. You went into the rift at the beginning and underestimated the poison. Oh, really? You got poisons in the rift? The rift is brutal. Brutal. But, you know. If you can get around all that poison. Although usually the rift gives you at the very least, the first... So either the first or second floor should give you an Enviro Pack, which gives you 50 turns that you can evade poison for. And fully completing it does give you... immunity to poison, so... Cogsack, the ghostly miner, has finally been put to rest. But you just gotta remember to step in the very dense poison cloud at the bottom. They probably mean Callisto Rift, I would assume. Callisto Rift is one of the alternate routes outside of Callisto. Callisto Anomaly is found via the Callisto Mines. I've played too much Jupiter Hell, can you tell? Too much or too little? Well, they've played too little. Can they walk diagonal? Yep. Yeah, no, they can walk in any cardinal direction. Including, like, in between, like, corners that are like this. As long as there's an opening on the other side. It's like a it's like, I think, a 50-50 chance that it shows up. Yes, you start in Callisto and then Callisto through Rift. Yeah. I can tell you for fact I've gone through that zone while you've been watching this stream here. At the very least, I've done it on Hyperstranges. We've just got so much fucking shit to put away. Yeah, true. I guess it's not much to say for your luck. Also, I just want to be blunt for a second. Bedsoap, I'm very impressed that you've stuck around so long. Often people who don't really know what's going on in Dwarf Fortress don't last very long. But, you know, if you have any questions, as stupid as they might seem, feel free to ask, because... You know, at the end of the day with this game, like, the hardest part about it is really just figuring out what you're looking at, and then if you're actually learning it, is just learning all the hotkeys. Aside from that, it's really not that crazy of a game that gets this much heftier rap than I think it deserves for its difficulty. There we go. I got people digging into the sides finally. That's going to take forever, though. Although, you know what I could do that will actually speed this up? Actually, it won't speed it up, but it'll speed up the process of mining, is I could swap that stockpile that they're bringing all that stuff to wheelbarrows. So now they will all finish that run up, and then they will bring wheelbarrows there, and they will just use wheelbarrows instead. So honestly, sometimes I don't know what's happening, even though I've played tons of times. Fair enough. Fair enough. True, yeah, you may have just not noticed it. Air, when you're playing Jupiter Hell, if you go to the terminals, and you go to, it's one of those options. It's the routes. Actually, I can't remember which one it is. But one of them actually shows you what alternate routes are available. Recon, that's it. Yeah, Recon. If you look at Recon, it will say what's available, and Callisto Anomaly should show up frequently in that screen. Or not Callisto Anomaly, Callisto Rift. And Feb's tantruming again. That's brilliant. Okay, so a lot less dwarves should be hauling momentarily. You know, it's kind of funny, Avidia, that you say that. It's like, I was watching some Hyper Demon last night, and the entirety of chat's just like, I have no fucking idea what's going on in this video game. And then somebody was just like, or the streamer who I was watching was just like, you know, I'm playing this game and I don't know what the fuck's happening. So, certainly a problem with certain types of games. All right, so they're going to start just using... Uh-oh. Designation canceled. Reason, we found damp stone. And more. All right, well, that's fine. We'll just dig through it and we'll do what we gotta do. As per usual. Chat, guess what? We've hit an aquifer. Everybody's favorite mechanic in Dwarf Fortress. Aquifers. Honestly, my biggest annoyance with aquifers isn't like how they work mechanically. It's that the game just pauses and jumps the camera to them every time. For those of you who don't know what an aquifer is, it's water that's underground. That's what you connect to get well water. And it's quite annoying, frankly, to dig into. They're very important in real life. Very useful in real life, even. But in video games like this one, they're just an obstacle you gotta get past. We're gonna set this up so that we can dig around it, hopefully. I do hope you're liking that game, though, Air. Just anybody who's been playing Jupiter Hell recently. I'm very much biased towards that game because of the amount of time that I've put into it and the fact that the publisher pays me to stream it. But it's like, that game's just so good. Like, genuinely, that game's just really good. All right, what even is that? Oh, it's a pool? Okay, so this is a pool of Mountain Gnome blood mixed with Forgotten Beast blood, mixed with Forgotten Beast poison, mixed with Dwarf blood, mixed with whatever that Esmil letter stuff is, mixed with mud. If anybody's wondering what that really bright orangey color thingy there is. It's those things all in one spot. I feel like I'm singing like a dark parody of these are a few of my favorite things. Zombie guts, dwarven pus. Is that a magic potion recipe? Soon. Drink it and find out. Something else just got mixed in. Oh god, what is in there now? Water probably? Yeah, now water's in there and ash. I don't know where the ash came from. Probably from the surface, actually, is probably where the ash came from. Dwarves? Where are you idiots coming from? Oh, they're all done. Perfect. Literally don't care what material they use as long as somebody uses it. There's magic in the game? No? Question mark? But also yes. So there's necromancy, which isn't magic. It's just necromancy, okay? And then the intelligent undead can have magic powers. And these magic powers are not magic. They're abilities. So they can have things like, I shoot icicles out of my fingers, or I shoot small ball of fire out of my fingers, or I touch you and you get paralyzed from a distance, or I force push you. Stuff like that. There's also ghosts and various other like supernatural things, and I would argue that the boogeymen are pretty much like and I would say that the boogeymen are pretty much that kind of equivalent as well. Like they might as well be supernatural. There's also like were creatures and that other kind of like mythology stuff. But is there magic directly? No. Let's get that final wall there slammed shut. Then we can start digging deeper. All right. Now, I don't know if this is... I think this is also going to be an aquifer layer, I'm assuming. The player doesn't have the magic? No, because the player can have intelligent undead on their team. If you're playing adventure mode, you can be a necromancer. You can have necromancers in your fortress if you want. You can have zombies in your fortress if you want. You can have intelligent undead in your fortress. I had a fortress that was almost entirely populated with necromancers and zombies once. So no, the player can have the magic. But is it magic? No, it's necromancy. Because magic is a thing that's going to be added to the game at some point, which is going to include procedurally generated spells and a lot of other crazy batshit nonsense like that. But there's also, like, godlike metals, which is almost magic in its own weird way. But is there magic in Dwarf Fortress? No, but yes, but yes, but no. Can the player get it? Yes. It's not like the necromancers or undead are, like, AI exclusive. I've been intentionally avoiding becoming necromancers in this fortress. I could have simply not hit a button and we'd probably be... We'd probably already be a fully necromancy fort if I'd gone that route, but I decided not to. All right, let's cancel this because we're going to have to dig through another layer. There was a point in time recently where it was really difficult to keep necromancers from being part of the fortress due to the whole tavern visits thing. If you settled near a tower. Yeah, but just don't allow them to join. I guess the bigger issue is just like random dwarves walking into your fortress and already being necromancers. They're supposed to be able to do that, but they're supposed to be like vampires where they hide their identity, but they don't do that right now. Let's go around the edge. Okay, so if you just kind of end up with necromantic books and you don't even notice, do you raid necromancer towers? Because that's how you end up with necromantic books and not even noticing. You literally have to raid necromancer towers to do that. That too. If you have a public library with writing materials and you assign a necromancer as a what's it called? As a librarian or whatever, a scholar, they can write down the books for you, but they can't do it unless you allow them to be a scholar or a resident scholar. So in order to allow them to just write down the secrets of life and death in a book and leave it in your library, you have to allow a necromancer knowingly into your library. But like outside of that, it's outside of that, the only other way to get them in your fortress is by literally like attacking the towers and basically if you want to attack a tower, do you want to attack a tower safely? Let me just find one. Raid, right? So raid Aegis Cacti, okay? I'm not actually going to do it, but when you have this here, you hit D for details, and then say, capital A, do not take important treasures, and lowercase I, do not loot other items, and they won't steal books. I'm just going to remove that mission because I don't want to actually do it. But that's all that you need to do. Then, when they run off and come back, they can attack the towers and they won't bring back books. So unless you are just doing that and not setting the details, they literally can't bring back books. So, and it's literally like entirely up to the player as to whether or not you want to allow necromancers into your fort. They could just show up as immigrants or migrants, and you can just evict them, which is usually what I do if I don't want them in my fort. But I don't know. The last patch like fixed that because like they're not supposed to just show up as much as they do. That's kind of or was a bug in the last version and is better now in this version, but still not perfect. So hopefully that like expanded a little bit upon y'all's knowledge base about how necromancy in Dwarf Fortress spreads. Sometimes I feel like I'm just like spewing absolute nonsense about video games when I talk about Dwarf Fortress because it's just so strange. More knowledge, more fun, more problems, more death, yes. You incorrectly digested gameplay you watched. That doesn't sound good for your, like, your gut flora. Gotta be honest. Hey, Selzer. How's things? Zelzer, rather. That's where most of your knowledge comes from, is watched gameplay. Gotcha. That's what streams are good for, is watched gameplay with occasional clarification. You feed them plenty of city builders. I would say that maybe if you want more flora and fauna, you should play more like zoo builders, frankly. Like Planet Zoo, that might do it. RimWorld, definitely bad for your gut flora. This just ends with, like, death and suffering, mostly. Let's see how far down we've dug. Wow, they're making distance. Look at this. Hells yeah. That's what I like to see. What's some... Oh, yeah, true. Or you could play Sim Safari, which is terrible, so don't actually play Sim Safari. You feel like a dummy who spent an entire year in-game building a fishing hut without realizing that in scorching biomes, fishing isn't possible because there's no fish. Yep. They're all dead. Well, hey, now you have a cool hut. Is it, like, entirely separate from the rest of the outside world and, like, safe from invaders and such? I mean, maybe you could use it as, like, a tower or something. And hello, 3 Ammo. Enjoy your lurks and works. All right. Rock orthoclase. It's the water that matters down there? Is this still... Okay, so that's the end. This is the last layer of the aquifer. Got it. So this is the last layer that we need to fix, essentially. Animal spawns are biome dependent, so it wouldn't be any different. Well, it depends on, like, what kind of desert biome they're in. And, vermin are not animal, they're vermin, and most fish are vermin. I have actually very few dwarves. I only have 97 dwarves in this fortress. Normal dwarf counts as like 200 plus. My main fortress actually has less than this. My main fortress is Long Death, which only has, I think, 45 right now. But that's a fortress that I'm trying to keep alive for 1,000 years. But the reason this fort is a little short on dwarves is because it's, you know, we're in endgame and we just had a fight with hell and we're not really getting many migrants anymore because not many people want to move here because there are demons everywhere. So, you know, we had close to 200 for a bit there in this fort, but we've only lost about 100 lives. And, you know, my tavern keeper ain't helping by throwing a tantrum and screaming at people and punching people. So what that means is you can probably go through grates. What, vermin can? Absolutely. Vermin can go through pump stacks. So you know that at the top of Long Death, I have this. I have that reservoir that the water falling from that pump stack. So I have that pump stack that pumps water up into the top of my tavern that then dumps down onto my dwarves. That thing fills up with fish, the top of it and the bottom of it. So they're coming up through a pump stack. Like, you can just make like a puddle of water underground, not connected to anything else, and fish will spawn in it. You honestly admire my dedication when it comes to Long Death? Being honest with you, I don't know why I'm still playing Long Death. I really should have stopped playing that playthrough like a year ago. But some people really enjoy it, so damn it, I'm gonna keep at it. To be totally fair, though, I did do similar-ish things in RimWorld. I had one RimWorld save that I kept alive for... Oh, no. Tavern Keeper misses the Swordmaster. Well, you dodged. That's good. I kept a single fort alive in... I'm just doing a thing in the background here. Where was I going with that? Lost my line of thought. Probably something you should already know by now, but is there a bulk way to mark dead and vermin for dumping? O for orders. R for refuse. Dwarves save corpses. Dwarf dumps corpses. Dwarf saves corpses. And bones and all the other bits and pieces. Yes, orders screen. There's a lot of metals in this. And there they go. Deeper still. It's going to take them a little while to get to the bottom of this, though. Spring's arrived, apparently. Probably kind of weird because the games are similar, but you could never get into RimWorld as opposed to Dwarf Fortress. I think everything about Dwarf Fortress makes everything in RimWorld less interesting. While they're very different games, if you play a lot of Dwarf Fortress, almost every major mechanic in RimWorld feels like a lesser mechanic from Dwarf Fortress. That's why. Why would they store refuse in bins? You can't. You'd have to allow bins in a refuse pile, and I don't think you can. To save space? Why would you want to save space by... Okay, this is like telling a hoarder, if you want to save space, put your garbage in boxes and put it near your door. You still have the garbage, it's just in a box now. It's just organized garbage instead of unorganized garbage. So, no. Doesn't save space. Grated Parmesan cheese has been found dead. Died of old age. Rest in peace, you old dwarf. Truly a shame, frankly. Considering he showed much promise. We're slowly digging. Also, I think I'm going to dig a hole there, dig a hole there, dig a hole there, and we'll fill those in later. I want those holes dug so that they can go around. Hey, Billionaire! Thank you very much for the 16 raid. Yeah, can I get a round of beers for the raiders from Bell? Hope your stream was good. Hope Monkey Island was fun. I actually informed a bunch of people this morning of Monkey Island's existence. They didn't realize that a new Monkey Island had been made. Also, Bellinaire, you should try... Actually, I'll wait until he pops. You finished it? How was it? Can I get a short review of Monkey Island? I will play some of it either tonight or tomorrow night before... you just didn't know there's a new one? We're benefiting everybody here. Also, Bellinaire, you should see if you can get Hyperstrange to send you postal minis. Because like they had a stream up all day today where one of them was like, one of their devs was painting postal minis. Should see if you can get them to send you minis. Just saying. As good as the old ones with less moon logic. I have a question. Do your public libraries have 3D printers? Because our public libraries have 3D printers. I'm just saying. Maybe not a bad idea. Yours does, but it's currently moving. Oh, man. Anyway, I don't know. I had that stream up in the background most of today. I was just sitting there going like, man. 100% sure how good it is for small... Like, you're not 100% sure, or you are 100% sure? Oh, you're not. There you go. Vile Force of Darkness has arrived. Bellinaire, your raid showed up. Well, so today in Dwarf Fortress, we've had a very exciting adventures. We've dug too deeply and too greedily. We've found hell, and now we're digging a really big roundabout walkway so that we can trap the remaining demons in there. Also, shoutouts to this goblin who arrived and is already collapsed due to exhaustion. Unconscious, tired, and winded. Hasn't even walked onto the map yet. Man, Nagam. All right, let's do that. Seal everything back inside. Pull the lever. Pull the other lever. Pull that lever. And then just wait a few moments. You want your fort to have a legendary chain now? I think my well is actually made out of entirely legendary bits. Let me check. Yeah, it's a artifact green glass bucket, an artifact brass chain, and an artifact lignite mechanism. Yeah, I have that, actually. Something I'm quite proud of, frankly. Let's see how big this siege is going to be. Hold up, did this guy drop something on the ground? What the heck did they drop? Hold on. What's going on with this goblin? So this goblin showed up, immediately dumped all of their clothing on the ground, and collapsed on the ground in exhaustion. And is now getting punted around by the remainders walking in. But literally, like, this one goblin that's at the front that's just, like, exhausted has nothing equipped, which is very strange. Huh. Pull that lever, dwarves. Come on. Are they sick? I don't know. It just says that they're tired and unconscious. Whatever that means. He was a scout and his job was to get to the raid here and not to fight? Oh, clearly, yes. Then why did he show up at the same time as the baddies? What a rotten way to die. Oddly enough, it might save his life. One just went off twice. My Twitter's busy today. It's kind of annoying. The point where, like, I'm just leaving. I'm just going to turn the data off on my phone. Just turn off data. Stay off data. It's for the bestest. So now we just wait for them all to show. Hey, look, a zombie. Friendly zombie. Allegedly friendly zombie. Not currently hostile zombie, actually. How big is this army? Smaller than the last one, it looks like. More souls for the gods have come. Yes. You know what's funny is there's a Bloomberg report about child predators using Twitch. Can I just say, am I the only person who's sitting here going, I'm not surprised? Am I a bad person? Genuine question. Darren, what up? It's good to see you. Like, it literally happens on every social media platform. Every single social media platform. Every single one. Why you should never say your age on a social media platform. Patolus, thanks for gifting a sub to Avenue Philanthropist. Avenue, enjoy the ad-free viewing for the next 30 days. Courtesy of our good friend Patolus, who's gifted 2 subs in the channel, and they were both today. Thanks. Chat, can I get a round of beers? Beards? Beards, same Dave. Can I get a round of beers for Patolus gifting a sub to our good friend Avenue? Cheers, man. Thanks for helping keep this weird channel funded. You totally believe it because you happen to know one streamer from a few years ago who was outed for using the platform to groom young teenage girls. It wasn't Cryotic, was it? Trying to think who. Although, like, there's, I don't know. Here's the Bloomberg report flying around, by the way. Warwitch? Oh, Warwitch, yeah, okay. Yeah. I also know Warwitch. Or new Warwitch, should I say. They also Bloomberg also managed to make this report look like a Korean horror comic, which I need to read through the whole thing later today. I just saw it pop up on Twitter not too long ago. Alrighty. Yeah, I used to get raided by Warwitch pretty frequently. He always struck me as an oddball. An entertaining oddball, but an oddball. Never really pinned him for being a creepy oddball, but you know, such is life. This is why, like, and this is just me being overly cautious, but this is partially why, oh shit, how many kids grew up? This is partially why, like, I'm very hesitant to say shit like, love you, chat, because I don't fucking love you. Don't even know any of you. Barely even met you. It's quite literally the reason I'm, like, iffy about that sort of weird shit. All right, let's give this dwarf a bunch of jobs who just became old enough to wake. So, damn it, we need you. I think the actual shame is just like when stuff like that happens and people get outed for doing awful things on platforms like Twitch and YouTube, they get banned off the platform. And it kind of just ends there. Like, vast majority of the time, they just fade off into the night. It's like, can't we, like, you know, get authorities involved? Or, you know, report them to police? Or make sure they don't hurt other people? But, like, always the case is, oh, yeah, no, they just vanish off into the night. It's like, that doesn't benefit anybody in the long run. Jesus Christ. All right, so we've got this Goblin Hammerman up at the front. From my knowledge, I think he went and got therapy and has like an IT job now. Like, he's still out and about. I know somebody else who actually like, or know of somebody else who I think is still under house arrest. But I don't know. I don't want to go spewing things that I don't know for certain. All I gotta say, Chad, is if you have kids, be careful who you let them watch. Do a little bit of vetting first. I certainly wouldn't let kids watch me, not because I'm creepy, but just because I tend to say words like fuck and penis relatively frequently. So, you know, I'm definitely something children shouldn't be viewing. Investments are open, Chad, if you want to invest your tickets. There was one time when a longtime viewer of the channel tuned in and was like, hey, Blind, my 5-year-old's watching. And I was like, oh God, I've been swearing for the last 5 minutes. And then he's just like, it's fine. You're muted. She can't hear you. I'm like, phew. It's like, only I can hear you in my headphones. I'm like, thank you that you had the forethought to do that. All right, so my dwarves are running forward and smacking up a couple goblins and a couple trolls. Smack my trolls up. What's up, Armor? Did you hear me show up on a completely unnecessary podcast? Because I certainly did. I called in on the last episode. Me and Armor both listen to the same podcast, and they have a call-in segment where people can call in. You're a few weeks behind. Back up, dwarves. Back up, 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 back up. Your adapter to listen to your phone in your car broke? Oh no. Oh no, not the crossbow bolts. Back up, dwarves. Run! Turn around and smack them up. Surprise. We're still armed. Okay. Where is the last of them? Yeah, it's pretty much good. Do it now. Do it now. Probably gonna have to kill one more troll, I think. Let that guy make it around the corner. Send them back to go kill Oots. They did answer a question you posted on Twitter 2 years ago. You should, why not? Yeah, no, I asked Ian about his playdate and if he's still messing around with it and if he'd played any good ones recently. Guys, you want to kill this fucking troll that's, you know, walking into the fortress? Be great if you could do that. There you go. Cut him up. 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 Let's go. Okay. Cut him up. Pull the goddamn lever, dwarves. Got all of this army stuck in my fortress right now. All right, you want to go over there and pull the lever? Anytime this year. At a convention somewhere? Oh, maybe. I don't go to the right conventions to meet them, so. All right, let's do this. I like how Armor hopes to meet Pat and Ian at a convention somewhere. He doesn't hope to meet me at a convention somewhere. Anyway, it's time to set these goblins and beak dogs and trolls on fire. Oh my. That's gonna be a lot that die down there. Although I'll say I'm real happy I'm not going to TwitchCon this year. It's gonna be I just received an email from a service I don't remember. I know I used once ages ago. That was also too expensive, so I didn't use it for very long. I just used their free trial and then like forgot about it after that. I just received an email from them saying, please log in and update your login information or your account will be deleted if you do not add a credit card. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here going like, please, fucking delete it. This dwarf has grown to become a peasant. We're going to go give you a pick. And masonry. And continue burning goblins. I think we're going to pull the back drain lever to hopefully surprise some of these goblins with a surprise flatten session. See this goblin sitting right here? This guy? Well, he's about to be very surprised by a lever that's about to be pulled that's going to make him suddenly become a pancake. See? And magic trick. Goblin's gone. It's wonderful, the kinds of things you can do with drawbridges. Let's pull that again to stop it from draining. I don't actually want it to be draining right now. But we're going to have to, like, stop that from, you know, emptying like that. Although, actually, I could pull this lever and maybe surprise this, like, crew that's, like, hanging out up here. Let's see what we can do with that. Okay, so the sides have shut now. Still torching the main bit. But these guys are all like, man, why door no open? Jeez, why door no... Splat 2. And they're just like, oh, God, what the fuck? We should run now. Yes, you should. Yes, you should. Meanwhile, down in the main chunk with the main glut of like the 100 or so dudes that are about to burn, we get all this. Honestly, I think that these dwarves deserve a medal. Like, this fortress itself is pretty fucking legendary. Toasty! Yes. Like, everything about this fortress is pretty fucking legendary. It must smell delightful. It probably just smells like burning if I had to guess. Pull this lever. Let's do it. Let's do it. Pull the lever again. Try and catch the ones that are just leaving. That's how many dudes are burning right now. Goblins are booking it. So if we pull that middle lever, it's going to open the drains again, which I'm hoping is going to catch these guys off guard. Right. Okay, there it goes. See? Comes down right in front of them. They try and sprint around it. Not all of them make it. Although this one, basically a hero, like dodged around everything, is going to make it off the map. Lucky son of a... Let me pull this lever up top, seal the top bit, and everything goes back to normal. Also, Patolis, I really appreciate you gifting subs, by the way. Means a lot. You're stuck at home for a while? Did you get sick? It's usually the reason people are stuck at home, so not COVID. Okay, good. Well, that's good to hear. Is it like positive reasons for being stuck at home, or are you like not well? You don't have to answer that if you don't want to. Mostly just curious. All right, you're gonna go pick up equipment. The dwarves can go back to digging now. Well, on the bright side, it means that you get to watch streams. Enlarged thyroid awaiting surgery. Ah, okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's legit reason to be stuck at home for a bit. My mom went through similar. Well, thank you for taking that time to, you know, spend time around this channel and throw gift subs around. Magma Crab has given birth to twins, which is adorable until they start to torching you with, you know, lava to the face. Alright, so this shouldn't take too long to dig through, I don't think, considering I do have a very large number of miners working on it. Some majors, too. Just for good measure. Don't even get me started on the chromatics, though. We're going to start back up here and begin smoothing. And if we're not able to finish the fight with the demons today, tomorrow will be the last day, by the way, of this fortress. Which means next week we starting a new fortress. Which is always fun. I'm not currently super convinced that we'll be able to finish this fort today, though. For whatever that's worth. To anybody who is wondering how much longer I'll be in this fort for. Would I ever run a multi-year fort with like sub 10 dwarves? I mean, I've done stuff like that. So I did a desert island fort with the starting 7 dwarves, and I expelled everything else, and I disabled trading. It was fine. A little boring. We'll be able to start a Halloween fort. What will I do? Well, it'll be a one-off world, probably an old world, very apocalyptic. But that'll probably be the starting mid-October, though. So the next fort will probably be a shorter fort. Or probably October, actually. Which means I still have, like... I have all of next week, but, like, I don't necessarily need to end this fort to do that. Or this world, so... Last Halloween we did a cult-themed fort, which ended with all of the dwarves being dropped into lava because it was a suicide cult. I don't know what we'll do this time. We'll think of something. I'll think of something. I was kind of thinking something to do with like handing out candy, but I don't know how I would do that. No, I don't know. We'll think of something. It'll probably be horribly devious and mean to the dwarves. That's the likely situation, actually. One thing I do know about Halloween is I always play through a Halloween-ish game. Last year we played through Fear. This is what we're doing this year. So, gonna play Thief. Huge amounts of beer. Isn't that literally every fortress? Because I'm like pretty damn certain that like every fort's kind of an Oktoberfest fort. All right, so we're shipping more and more and more of those bits and pieces out and continuing to mine. I think we'll just sit here and watch the mining. I find mining very chill to view. Oh, what luck. A vile force of darkness just arrived for me too. Well, I'm glad that you also have received your vile force of darkness. I don't know where I was going with that, but I gather you pre-ordered just like I did. The vile force of darkness, that is. Pre-ordered by, of course, sending a violent army at the nearest enemy to tempt them into coming back and fighting with you. God dang it, something else passed Dwarf Fortress for wish lists. Good news, though, chat. Dwarf Fortress finally got past the being stuck at like 109,000 followers on Steam. They're up to 111,000 followers on Steam now. Pretty good, frankly. If you ask me. I'm kind of curious, what passed Dwarf Fortress in the top wish lists? What passed Dwarf Fortress? Oh, fucking Call of Duty. That's cheating. That's cheating! Call of Duty, we were above Call of Duty. But it looks like Call of Duty kind of rocketed up. I still don't know how this thing is the most... Actually, like, I genuinely don't know how that thing is the most wishlisted thing on Steam. Like, genuinely. It kind of confuses me. If I'm being honest. Large fish aren't to fry. Yeah, no, totally. No, I mean, it's kind of expected, but frustrating is all. You have a bunch of cage traps, but as soon as you're set up, you'll replace them with green glass spiked ball weapon traps. I prefer serrated glass discs. There's something about them that just seem cooler. Also, we're still under siege, excuse me. My lads, there's one troll left. Standing at the edge of the map. I guess I will open the front door and we'll go stab his face. Deep is this? It's fine. Kill that troll. No, it's all good. Don't worry about spell checking. As long as I can, like, translate what you're trying to say, it's totally... Oh no, it's a ghost. Spooky. I really? Okay. Apparently there's more things I haven't immortalized, looks like. Set up weapon traps for one long bridge. Under it are retractable spikes, and you want to force to. You know, I kind of love seeing other people's like maniacal death traps in Dwarf Fortress. There's something about a Rube Goldberg murder machine that I just. Also, by the way, Rube Goldberg Murder Machine is my new synth pop band. All right. There you go. You finally caught him. It took a while. Yes, slowpokes. It's like this Swordsdwarf was playing with his food. I say that. So this Swordsdwarf chases after the troll, right? Bites the troll in the lower arm. Okay, that's the first thing he does. He bites him. Latches on firmly. The troll breaks the grip of his front teeth on his arm. The Swordmaster slashes the troll in the arm, tearing apart the muscle. An artery has been opened. The Swordmaster slashes him again. Swordmaster slashes him again, this time in the upper body, tearing apart the muscle, and more arteries were opened. And then slashes the troll in the upper front teeth, and the severed part sails off in an arc. The way he killed him was de-jawing the top of his mouth. That's gruesome. It's like what's the word? It's like a reverse scalping. Ugh. 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 Gross. Partial beheading. Yes. Raz, thanks for the 30 months. You heard that, chat. That sub turned 30. It's time to post beers. Goblin invasion force is weak. I mean, in comparison to mine, I'm sure it would look weak. Ah, shit. I didn't realize I had to go around that. Okay. I was like, why is this not done yet? Well, it turns out it's because I fucked up. That's why it's not done yet. Whoops. I'm all right. We killed a bunch of demons today and are now beginning the early works of making a very long kill tunnel for them, for the remainders. We killed it was like 80-something demons. Dug too deep. It's good times. Bunch of demons and corpses? Really? Like brutes? Or are you talking about like intelligent undead and necromancer experiments? What do you mean when you say demons? Like actually like generated like demons with the demon sprite? Necromancer experiments. Okay. I've been hoping for necro experiments, but none of them have shown up. It's kind of frustrating, to be honest. Kind of frustrating. But how's Raz on this fine afternoon? I think most of Twitch is just kind of like collectively groaning. But put it this way, I'm real happy I'm not going to TwitchCon this year. But me personally, I'm doing all right. I'm having a pretty good time. Just enjoying video games. Enjoying Dwarf Fortress. Like I said, we fought with hell today, and that was entertaining, so... We've had a rather large death counter today, though, unfortunately, Raz. We're down to 96 dwarves. We started today at, I think, 130. Admittedly, now, most of that is, like, the demons from the underworld combined with, you know, just general necromancer experiments, doing necromancer experimentsy things.
Bring out your dead!
Yep. Yep, exactly. But, you know, once this grand construction down here is completed, we will be able to, probably tomorrow. I don't think I'll finish this up tonight. We will be able to combat hell. So tomorrow will be an exciting stream. And then we'll start a new fort in this world. And then sometime in October, yeah, we will in fact do a Halloween fort. Which, of course, you know, will be haunted biome and all that other fun stuff. Oh no, the tavern keeper punched my mare. And a planter's throwing a tantrum. How unfortunate. Now to make elaborate tombs from them. I mean, we're actually just like dumping most of the bodies into lava. And then providing them with what's it called? Slabs. Dedicated to them individually. I mean, it's no tomb, but hey, something. It's something. You know, every now and again I look at my Steam library and I realize that I own way too many video games. Do you ever just do that? Do you ever do that? You just like realize it's like, why do I own like 800 games? Like I could realistically play a different video game every single day. And I have like 2-3 years worth of games. Only all the time. Like, why do I own so many fucking video games? Like, it's a little bit nonsensical. Who more counts of disorderly conduct? Good lord. This fort's a little bit falling into tatters. Steam makes it easy to collect them. It's even worse because like I've acquired 2 games today during this stream, just because devs send me keys, and like there's a lot of there's certain companies where it's like if they send you a key they expect coverage and you need to send them the video or link to the live stream VOD or something to prove that you covered it, and then there's devs that are just like, hey, here, try a video game please, thanks. That's about it. So I usually redeem those. Even if I'm not really intending on covering them, because I'm not obliged to cover them unless I've signed something. So, like, even today, it's like I've received 2 different games today. new Shovel Knight game, and one other one that I'm pretty sure they don't actually want me to talk about. So it's like sometimes I just end up with more video games than I literally can cover or talk about. Because, you know, they're making a Shovel Knight run-based platformer. You have multiple 1,000-hour plus games. Same, but, like, you can only have so many of those. I mean, like, on my Steam library, I got RimWorld with 2,679 hours, but about 4,000 hours streamed. I have over 2,000 hours in Roller Coaster Tycoon. I have 1,500 hours in Cookie Clicker, 1,000 hours on the Dot and Planet Coaster, 430 hours in Jupiter Hell. Is going to pass Elite Dangerous soon. Kind of surprised that they haven't started smoothing yet. Oh, no, they have. Down there. Neat. Seems like a bunch of dwarves are leaving to go take a break. They admittedly probably will need. Let's see, did they ever... Yeah, looks like they're finally working their way back up there. Okay, we'll just get those set up so they can go back up. You know, oddly enough, I played the first Shovel Knight and I didn't like it. I actually bought that game. I didn't, like, fund it or anything, but I did buy that game on my 3DS, actually. Just the downloadable version, and I didn't like it. It really, like, was very clear very quickly into that game that it wasn't for me. You loved Shovel Knight? You wish that you'd backed it? Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit too old school for me. Not my kind of thing. I recognize that a lot of people love Shovel Knight, but like I said, just not for me. Yeah, I know you do. You like the old school stuff way more than I do. Someone got a broken leg? Owie. "52 days, Fib? It's about to get longer. Wait, no, 29 days in prison. 52 days for Lolar. Okay. Lolar is a very sad dwarf. And Fib isn't in prison yet. I'm trying to think, now that you just said you wish you backed it, I'm trying to think, what are games that I regret not backing on Kickstarter? I regret not backing Jupiter Hell on Kickstarter. I kind of regret not backing Zero Sievert on Kickstarter, but it doesn't and didn't need my help. I guess that's fine, but... Yeah, I don't know. You regret not backing Bloodstained? What, to get your face in it? I think that was the coolest part of that game, was just like yourself showing up in the background. I mean, I regret backing plenty of games, so that part's easy. But like, also kind of hard. Like some certain games, like I forget like what games were. I kind of like forget what games were and were not kickstarted, you know? Like there's certainly some games now where I'm just like, oh right, shit, that was kickstarted. Damn. Like I forget. Like my memory is pretty good, I like to think, but it's certainly not perfect. A stoneworker has been possessed. Would you look at that? There isn't really too much to do because it's just like we're waiting for this really large project to finish, you know? It's going to cheat here, and I'm going to forbid all of this. Stoneworker runs over to the craft store shop. Chat, can I get a round of beers for good luck for the dwarf making a valuable and interesting artifact? And they grab adamantine because I, you know, cheated. Whatever. 2 pieces of adamantine. Speaking of. This is going to be a valuable artifact. Know that much for sure. Grabs an iron bar. Can unforbid all that now. Adamantine earring. I'll take it, frankly. Earring, crown, statue. I'm actually really hoping we get a adamantine musical instrument covered in emeralds and various gems. That would be really cool. Because it is a craft store shop, and that's probably the coolest thing we could get out of that. Also, since I've only said this once today, chat, it's very important. Do you remember? It's the 21st of September. It's sort of like when it's Friday. It's almost impossible for me to not like remind people that it's Friday to try and get the song Friday stuck in their head. Are you literally just like running into the Queen's quarters to grab a gem? I respect it. I mean, it better be. No, sir. Bloody well better be. The ghostly furnace operator has been put to rest, and they've been put to rest near the furnaces. That's where I put their slab. Wait, really? Was that today? 35 years ago? That movie really only 35 years old? It looks older than that. Like, nothing against The Princess Bride. A hilarious movie. But I thought that movie was older than that. Like, that movie looks like it should have been black and white at one point. Like, they you know, Hollywood doesn't make movies the way they used to anymore. You know, back in the day, it was like they'd build a bunch of cool looking sets and then they'd film a stage play and call it a movie. Now they're all like, have you heard of green screens, kids? And that's all that we get is just fucking green screens. Remember going to see it in the theater when it came out? I mean, I wasn't born when it came out because I'm 28, right? But like when I first saw that movie, I remember thinking it was way older than it actually was. Like, I'm pretty sure that movie was... Actually, what was the budget of Princess Bride? Princess Bride was made with a budget of $16 million? The fuck did they spend that $16 million on? Probably like all of the acting talent and the cameras. Probably, I would bet that they spent less than $1 million on the actual sets for that movie. Like they probably just went to like some used clothing store and just bought a bunch of clothes. Production costs? Yeah, no. I don't know. For some reason, I thought it was like a $10 million movie. I've seen like indie movies that cost less than that. All right, so Dwarf's got everything that they need. Moss opals, cut emeralds, wood logs, red barrels, emerald cabochons, moss opals, iron bars, and 2 pieces of raw adamantine. Any bets? Gives me on my hiccups. When my hiccups will go away. Or what that dwarf's going to make. When Andre the Giant is in the film. True, he is kind of a walking costume. Any other cool projects in this fort? Does this count as a cool project? It leads directly down to this spooky shit. So, if that doesn't count as a cool project, then I don't know what does. We're going to be leading the demons up into here, up into here, up into here, up into here. All the way down there. All the way over there. And eventually all the way up. Also, I just realized I'm a big idiot. Apparently we just like went and dug through where big scary monster's at. But I don't see any dwarves that have run off, so that's a good sign. Why, thank you. I think it's a somewhat amazing project myself. Now we're just going to sit here and stare at this until this is done. Any blind dragons? I haven't seen a dragon in this fort, no. Or do you mean cave dragons, not blind dragons? I don't know what you mean by blind dragons, actually. But we did kill, like, 90-something demons. It was like 170 of them spewed into the fort. I've never once seen a cave dragon. In my entire time playing Dwarf Fortress, I've not once seen a cave dragon. Thousands of hours in this video game, and I've never seen a cave dragon. True story. So not lately. Never. Not once. You fought one once in adventure mode? Yeah, no, I've never even, not even in adventure mode. Somebody in chat had one in their fort for a bit recently, but not me. Oh, it's a figurine. Ashen, the stoneworker, has created Lertethinshin Sufal Uvash Alil, a raw adamantine figurine of Reg trumpet drill. Chat, don't forget to drill your trumpet. It's very important, okay? Remember, everybody, before you do anything else, drill your trumpet. Trumpet drill. And she claims it as a family heirloom. Can I get a round of beers for our most expensive artifact in the fort? It's worth 1.57 million, or sorry, 1,572,200 Zathal, and it's called Tangled Warning the Arena of Glee. Beware their terrible vocal covers. This is a raw adamantine figurine of trumpet drill. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. On the item is a masterfully designed image of Rag Trumpet Drill of the Dwarf and Dwarves in Raw Adamantine. By Ashen Otagidon Lugtian. Rag Trumpet Drill is surrounded by the Dwarves. The artwork relates to the ascension of the Dwarf Rag Trumpet Drill to the position of Queen of the Plank of Nations in the late winter of the year 200. It is encrusted with oval moss and opal cabochons and table-cut emeralds, and encircled with bands of iron. That's the queen before my queen, Queen Elomino. And this object is adorned with hanging rings of raw adamantine and menaces with spikes of emerald, red beryl, and moss opal. On the item is an image of tapered baguette-cut gems in raw adamantine. On an item is an image of a shoe in peachwood. A shoe? Do you like shoes? Buckets and dogs for their loyalty, nothing about shoes. But there's an image of a shoe. That's going to need an armed guard. That's going to go right here. Dogs, non-shoes. True. You know what? Let's actually get rid of these so that they just build these first. You just have to play it loudly to make the drill work? Oh, possibly. Or maybe they're just doing drills with trumpets. You know, it's like, you know, you do drill to, like, train marching skills. Or maybe they're just a trumpet that's played by Drill, the guy on Twitter. Digging up as fast as can be. Not actually that sure how I managed to dig through this without, like, making sure I wasn't accidentally going to dig into the caverns, but, you know, here we are. Aren't they really OP? They're just like Forgotten Beasts, Mikael. So some are really OP, some are exceptionally weak. All of the ones that we fought were all not particularly threatening. Spamming on Discord. But most of the demons that we fought with were like, the scariest ones were these butterfly demons that were just butterflies with webs, which are pretty scary. There was like these guys made of charcoal that were, what's the word? Like these four-legged critters that had poisonous bite. There was dudes with sting. Like, you know, they're like any other Forgotten Beast. But if you can beat Forgotten Beasts, you can beat demons. The problem is instead of like, you know, your dwarves versus a Forgotten Beast, it's your dwarves versus like 100 demons. So you need like a fully stacked military basically to be able to beat them. But like, they're not that bad to beat. Like they're not. It's not like an impossible feat to beat them in a one-on-one fight. It starts to get sketchy when there's also ones with fire and also ones with like webs and like stuff like that. But fortunately, all the ones that have fire that I saw didn't really leave the basement. So fortunately, I think we're actually in a pretty good spot for the underworld. I mean, there's still going to be a lot more down there. I mean, currently the visual ones, we've got these gray phantoms and phantoms of shadows, which are the only two types of visible demons right now. These ones are gigantic, stegosaurid composed of ash. It has a short trunk and a bloated body. Those we fought plenty of those, and they were easy enough to kill. And then there's these phantoms of shadow, which are blobs composed of ash. It has an enormous shell, and it appears to be emaciated. There are spiders composed of flame down there. Like, there's lots of scary things down there, but, like, not all of them can fly, and the only ones that you fight initially are the ones that can fly, right? So they are the ones that can fly up and out. Any ones that are stuck to the ground or don't have any sort of flying abilities or any amazing jumping abilities are just, like, stuck in hell, and they can't come after you, which is why it's, like, Wave 1, you fight against them. You fight against Wave 1 initially. You know what? Fuck it. You are a very angry dwarf. Just get locked in there. We'll come clear up your body later. We're fighting against hell. We got no time for idiots who keep tantruming. But where was I going with this? Right, yeah. The first wave of demons that you fight is like anything that can fly. So usually that initial wave isn't that threatening. It's once you actually dig down into hell and you're fighting them on their terms that they get really dangerous. So we're trying to make that process as safe as possible and trying to not have to fight them as directly as we may otherwise have to. Which is what this whole build is working towards right now, is we are trying to build around them and as safely as possible. Is what we're trying to do. So. Also, hello, Fireglow. Good afternoon, Gurgi. How goes the circus hunt? We found the circus and fought with it. And we defeated the first wave. We are now in the midst of prepping for a secondary assault with very long hallways, which are getting close to done-ish. Well, currently we're making a highway to hell, not a highway through hell. But hell itself is down here. Rip this dwarf who graciously gave their life to dig too deep. Fortunately, though, hell itself is straight down through here. Actually, hold up. Is that a straight line? Yeah, actually, that actually is a really easy route to get down there. So stairs, 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 stairs. That's not too bad. It's doable. Doable. But, you know, we're trying to also smooth the whole thing, which is going to take a little bit, so. I want it to look pretty, which maybe not the wisest thing to do, but. But I'm going to do my best to make it look pretty. By, like, you know, going through and smoothing everything and all that jazz. But how goes Gurgi's afternoon? I trust you weren't, like, assaulting demons with an army of dwarves today? No. In a psychedelic way? I mean, I'm not sure how this part of the fort... I don't know. I watch Cupa streams too much, and her forts are very psychedelic, so... No demon hunts here, making some chicken and rice. Frankly, I think I'd rather have chicken and rice, but hunting demons currently is kind of just watching the dwarves slowly mine out tunnels, which is fine. Not the worst thing to do, but also not the most entertaining or tasty thing I could be doing. So I'm suddenly a little bit jealous of your rice, if I'm being honest. So demons can just walk through lava. And apparently, if you seal demons into obsidian and then mine them out later, it doesn't kill them. So I'm thinking the way we do this is we trap them in somewhere. If you think in how fast dwarves live and die in Dwarf Fortress, they live 160 years. What do you want about? And most of them do live that long. Like, sure, plenty of dwarves die in miraculously fantastical ways, but many humans die every day in car accidents, which is no weirder than, you know, like accidentally tripping over Satan McSatan face and like getting evaporated by a death ray. You know? Another news, your new fort 7 years into breeding a clan of super dwarves? What? What? Pardon? Explain? What do you mean by breeding a clan of super dwarves? Just imagining you breeding super soldiers or something. Also, chat room, investments are open if you want to invest your tickets. And Raz is the only person who's invested. I'm going to invest 2020. We'll see how this goes. Oh, no. Both of us got in too late. Freeways. Sorry, Raz. Icod. Punches a magma crab. Well, that's a crabby situation. How did you get in there? There's literally no easy way for... How the fuck did this magma crab get in here? Genuine statement. I have no idea how it got in there. Huh. Nope. Magma crab don't die. I mean, maybe if they shot... Starting 7 dwarves and their kids, but you're training tons of skills to make their attributes huge. Okay, so you're only going to have 7 dwarves and their children. That's kind of tricky because... Like, can the starting 7 even, like, get married? I don't know if they can. But good luck. Sounds like a fun experiment. And before you just end up with, like, one dwarf that's, like, super charismatic. And so it's, like, one dwarf that's in a relationship with the other 6. And only marries one of them. And then only those 2 have kids. And the other 6 are just... and the other 5s are just, like, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th wheel, respectively. Because I've had that happen before. It's happened a couple of times in Long Death. I'll be like, why is nobody having babies? And then I realize one dwarf is lovers with everybody. who would be available. And so it's like one married couple and then like 15 extras that are just there fucking around and none of them have kids. And it's like, God damn it, guys. How do you expect me to have kids in this fortress if you guys are all just in open relationships and no one's getting married and no one's having kids? It's almost like it's the same problem that Earth is having right now. Only one marriage pair so far. You almost had that problem with Locum, was quite a Chad. You only need 2 pairs from the original 7 if you let them marry their cousins. Okay, fair enough. It's too much of a Chad. But, you know, only needing 2 pairs is good. You probably know more about starting new forts like that than me. But those kind of like micro forts with like pretty rough restrictions on the number of dwarves you can have are pretty cool. But also, freeways. Magma crabs aren't made out of magma. They're made out of rock. They just carry a small, like, package of lava with them anywhere that they go, and then they use that as ammunition to shoot at baddies or things they want dead. So it's not like they just die if they get into lava, because it doesn't matter if they get into lava. They're just like little rock critters. Although it's better that they're rock critters and not Johnson critters. Because Dwayne critters would be even scarier, frankly. Dwarf Fortress wouldn't be able to run with too many of them on the map because they're such high-paid actors. I think that, like, the game would just run out of currency. He almost had... But yeah, no. I'm just trying to, like, find other things to blab about. I am, like, a exhausted zombie today. I don't know what it is. I think it's been too long since I've been on a hike. I haven't been on a hike in a couple of weeks. It's like my brain is just starting to go back to being mush. Unfortunate. I really wish that my brain didn't work this way, but I suppose it does. We just sit and wait. Also, chat, we're kind of lurking. If you're lurking in the stream, could I get a round of beers? I'm just curious about how many people are listening to the channel. Trying to decide if we should stream much more Dwarf Fortress today or if we should swap games soon. Because currently I'm kind of thinking we should swap games soon based on how quiet y'all have been. Uh-oh, got a big hitch. Oh, it's fine. Pathing bump, I think. Which also leads me to believe it would probably be a bad idea to stream Zorbus tonight. As much as I've been enjoying that game, if chat's quiet, streaming a game like that's going to be bad. I need to figure out what we're going to do for evening game tonight. Kind of thinking possibly Songs of Six. I don't know. Got to start up a new run in that anyway. I did say I would. Bestowed a name Umazotic upon an adamantine shield. But at this point, anything to kind of keep the chat moving is very much appreciated. You're up for what is. It doesn't really matter what you guys are up for. I know what chat dies when I play. So, I'll figure out something. I'm mostly just trying to keep the chat moving. I mean, we'll still play probably another 40 minutes of this. Kind of want to get, at the very least, the main layout of this done. But I do need help keeping the chat active. I don't know what you mean, Spear. Let's knock that down, knock that down. Mountain gnomes are guzzling my cherry wine. I guess it's time that we make more wine. So I'm realizing we haven't had any traders this year. Well, maybe by this time of year we'd have at least one group of traders. All right, dwarves, it's time for you guys to all get stone detailing. Used to be something I had more dwarves doing than I knew what to do with. And they all died. It's been very unfortunate, not gonna lie. Tele gets that job, you get that job, you get that job, you get that job. You already have that job, you get that job. I need dwarves to assist with smoothing. Speaking of assist with smoothing, let's fly up here. Yes, that whole thing's been constructed. Good, good, good. Oh yeah, no, I mean, various changes to the game's code base make certain critters more frequent and other critters less frequent. Cave dragons are one of those things that have become very infrequent. Not entirely sure what has made them less frequent, but they are certainly less frequent than they used to be. I used to see screenshots of them all the time, and I've personally never even encountered them. Because version 32, I was still much more base level knowledge with the game. I was still on the forums and looking at stuff and watching stuff, but certainly didn't, like, play the game much back then. You remember being disappointed when you did encounter the, hey, you don't have wings, you don't count? What do you mean? I mean, above ground dragons don't have wings. Why don't they count? They're more dragons than humans have arrived to trade. They're more dragon-like than anything in Skyrim. So not sure why not having wings makes them not count, but let's just cancel both of those jobs. Yeah, I mean, I've had plenty of dragons that have laid eggs. Like, I've seen plenty of dragons over the years, but I never run into the cave dragons, because cave dragons are third cavern layer only and also just as rare as normal dragons. So it's like that extra layer of rareness, and also the odds that they show up or don't show up because they're all dead, or even higher because the threats to their lives are higher down underground. Because cave dragons are the ones that fly, right? But I don't know. I also don't really go out of my way to find them. There's certain other critters that I've gone out of my way to find, and I've found them. Although I've never actually found stranglers. I'm still looking. Those I have seen in adventure mode, though. Stranglers. I'm starting to, like, genuinely be convinced, though, that stranglers might just be the rarest creature in Dwarf Fortress, just period. Just because, like, they're practically a cryptid. They're so uncommon. Like, they're basically Dwarf Fortress's Bigfoot. Cave dragons fly, non-cave dragons don't. That is the difference. Above ground dragons fly, cave dragons don't. But if you got really cramped caverns, they might not have any reason to fly. Which certainly isn't too uncommon. But, I mean, I don't know when the last time I did this was. But, for what it's worth, many games claim to have dragons that aren't real dragons. Like, this is what, in air quotes, is referred to as a dragon. From the indie game Skyrim. You may have heard of it. This is not a dragon. This is a wyvern or a wyvern because its front legs are its wings. They're bat-like. That's a wyvern, my dudes. A dragon has 4 legs with 2 wings, or just 4 legs. The second you put its like feet on the ends of its wings, it's a frickin' wyvern. And it drives me bonkers that there's no dragons in Skyrim. Only Dragonborn. Hey, Aura Enchanted. It's good to see you. Correct. Yay. Positive reinforcement. All right, so. I mean, I got that distinction from Fire Emblem, actually. Because Fire Emblem has dragon riders and wyvern riders. Dragons 4 legs, wyverns 2 talons. Exactly. Wyverns are like bat dragons, right? And dragons have 4 legs, wing on back. Like here, let's see if I can find a good picture of a dragon. Dragon, just dragon. Literally, just go into Google, typing in dragon. So this from Monster Wiki. That's a dragon. Okay. Wyvern. This is from some D&D subreddit. That is a wyvern. Wyverns are their ugly cousins. Well, in Fire Emblem, they're much more sleek and faster, but are way weaker and go down way faster. But depends on the lore of the world that you're currently in. Chat, I just want to go to some really big game publisher or game PR's office and stand outside of it and hold up a sign. Or maybe like even go to like a WWE event that's just says, "Stop calling deck builders roguelikes." Grumbles. Because they're not. None of them are, and they never will be. But speaking of dragons and things, Ara, what have you been up to? It's been a while. Hope you've had a good summer. Just confuse everyone more. Deck builders aren't roguelikes. They've never been roguelikes. People just start calling them roguelikes because it makes them sell better, which is ridiculous. It'd be like me making a deck builder first-person shooter without actually making it a first-person shooter. Because none of them are roguelikes. Gah. In order for it to be a roguelike, it has to be a turn-based, procedurally generated dungeon crawler. with some sort of tile-based movement. And there is like one or two actual like card game-based roguelikes where it's like a proper roguelike structure with permadeath, and they also just happen to have burn cards, which is fine. Very torn up emotionally inside. I've been torn up emotionally for years, but I don't know. You can vent if you need to. To be fair, this chat is usually just my venting ground for my emotional distress, so it's up to you. I don't really care. I can sometimes offer advice. Sometimes can't, though. I figured exactly how I want to do this. Pay dollars to win? Oh yeah, definitely. This is like one of those situations. Like you need to make like fake Steam pages, like just in Photoshop, just designed to annoy me. It's like a battle royale roguelike deck builder, action combat, real time. Stab your own eyes out with the confusions. Insert table flipping emoji. Does the flash table still work? Ah, dang it. Hold up. Table flip. You beat me to it. What are we making in Dwarfs? Looks like a long, snaky corridor. It's a long, snaky corridor that goes down into hell up top, or is going to go down into hell. We already fought the initial waves from hell, and we are working towards fighting the rest of it. Currently, I'm just smoothing it and making it look pretty. Then we're going to clean out all these boulders. Then we're going to go down in there. Probably tomorrow we'll go down in there and make the demons fight with us. You know, back in the day when Twitch was just IRC, because Twitch chat for a really long time was just IRC, right? When Twitch was IRC, all of the IRC commands worked, so you could do like the slap somebody with a trout and all that shit just by doing IRC commands. Over the years, like Twitch has slowly gutted all of the IRC features out, so like Some still work if you're smart, like this one still does things if you're smart, but and have external plugins, but it's extensively interesting. But yeah, no, long snaky corridor to be a demon's sad face zone eventually. Although I'm kind of looking at this and thinking, how could I make this into a big old demon zoo? Get that table back. How dare you flip my table? It's been in my family for generations. The truly confusing thing, though, is I'll put the correct table back because you didn't put the correct table back. You put the incorrect table back, sir. That is a much smaller table than the one I flipped over, because the one I flipped over was actually that big. There you go. I put the right table back. You put a slightly different one back. I'm sorry. I thought that one is the new one I bought. God damn it. I think it was always some kind of modified IRC backend, because whenever you connected with an IRC client, all the services would just give you messages with the exact same. Oh yeah, no, totally. I mean, it was always an IRC backend, but it's no longer an IRC backend. They've swapped it out entirely now, because I don't think you can even connect to Twitch chats via IRC anymore. There's definitely like third-party tools that you can use to connect to chat, but like, you can't connect to chat via IRC clients anymore, which makes me kind of sad because I used to do that. But also somehow screwed up my mouse's sensitivity again. God damn it. Speaking of Bibles, something that I got to inform Kiri of when she was in the States was that it's illegal to have a hotel room without a Bible in it somewhere. It's kind of a shame. IRC is kind of a gem of internet history. Let's just get this corner done first. Make it a little bit more unified. You know what? Let's also just jump up to where the military is. I'm going to go around the edge of them. Just go to stone detailing, stone detailing, stone detailing, stone detailing, stone detailing, stone detailing. I know that you guys recently fought off many, many armies of goblins and the literal hellspawn from the Great Below. And I know that it's been a long and grueling time for you guys training, but I think it's time for my entire military to take an extended hiatus from the practice of murder. And I think it's time for them to all go down into the basement with the rest of the dwarves and help us fucking smooth this floor. It's to reduce hotel room suicides? If that was me, it would increase the likelihood of suicide. It's also like the most ass backwards silly thing ever. You know what reduces hotel room suicides? Actually, I was going to say smaller windows, but that's not necessarily true. Less sharp objects in hotel rooms. If you just hung a goat's head in every single hotel room, I think I would be less likely to commit suicide. Also more likely to stay in a hotel room, to be honest. Complimentary weed. You know, like, in the current year, wouldn't it be logical to have, like, you know, your tiny little bottle of wine and a tiny little sealed joint with a tiny little air filter? Like, you just open it and they charge you $25 to your bill for the single joint. Like, smoking areas on the roof. Like, how are we not there yet? Yes, and maybe okay, maybe not a pack of matches. Maybe just like a single use like CBD vape. You know, like those tiny little like what are they like 10 milligram little single use vapes that are like that big that you can buy, or just like a little bag of like weed gummies right next to like they. You'd think that we're like at that point. Or countries, centuries behind. Yeah. A single pot brownie. Yeah. I mean, at least like in Canada and the States, that should be totally fine, right? I mean, if they can just like have like a stack of like mini wine bottles in most hotel rooms, why can't they just have like just like a little baggie of CBD gummies? Come on. Sheesh. I mean, if anything, I feel like that would drastically increase their revenue off of like room service sales, wouldn't it? Like, I mean, the only thing that really happens to me when I have weed in my system is I'm slightly happier and I want chips. So like, vending machine sales would go way up in motels, frankly. Like, I could sort of see like not putting a joint in a hotel room because like, you know, it would kind of make the place stank a little bit. But like, get absolutely just edibles, no problem. Anyway, sorry for it's like the mandatory weed minute of rambling, but so I made the argument that in Canada, Shoppers Drug Mart should sell weed out of a vending machine. They would have weed, frozen pizza, and cookies in one store. So I can never remember where exactly you're located, Ara, but in over here we have BC Cannabis Stores, right? So there's two kinds of cannabis stores here. There's two types of weed stores. We have the government ones, which have like the exact same logo as the government-run liquor stores, and then there are the privately owned ones. And there's like little chains and like single family run things, and like I kind of feel bad about doing that. But anyway, that dwarf's dead. I locked them in there so that they would get dead, so that they would stop tantruming. Anyway, where was I going? So there's the government run ones, and then there's like the privately owned ones. Over in, I want to say it's in Burnaby, there's a BC Cannabis store right next to a pizza place, right next to a shawarma place. And it's like, you walk into the cannabis store, and there's a door in the cannabis store into the pizza place, which is open, and you can use it. So you can walk in there and you can get weed, and then walk through one door and have pizza in like under 10 minutes. I hope that they did that on purpose. I know that like those two, the little pizza place and the little shawarma place, were there before, and you can smell it. Yeah, I know for a fact that they were both there before the BC Cannabis Store was. But it's kind of funny. Like, I want to know how much their business has gone up. It has to be like a considerable amount. Has to be. There's no way it's not.
This is madness!
Madness.
This is Stone Hobo. This is Hobo. This is Hobo.
Yeet. Not gonna lie, Hobo, you just startled the shit out of me. Whew. I'm awake now. Hi, what's up? We've gone all over the conversation spectrum today. Today's been a fun day. Good? Good? How good? Oh, D&D. I was like, a Dundee. I was like, but the unicorn invasion of Dundee was thousands of years ago. But Good for you, I would say. Hope you have fun with the D&D. Also, hey, Shady. You've had to give up the good stuff, unfortunately. Some of the legal high shit I've taken in the past has made it so that the weed and derivatives just cause you pain and discomfort. Oh, that sucks. But you want it to be available to people that need it there? I'm really curious what the connection there is that just make you feel pain and discomfort, but just kind of curious, but I'm pester too much. Hobo, I have a question. So we were discussing Bibles being put in hotel rooms to lower hotel suicides, right? And then I posed the statement of, why not, instead of putting Bibles in hotel rooms, we put a package of like low THC CBD edibles in every hotel room alongside of the tiny little bottle of wine. So you can have a little baggie of weed, a little bottle of wine, and then if you open the baggie of gummies or whatever, they charge you like $50 on your bill. You were fiending for weed and couldn't get any, so you smoked some... Oh, no, you smoked synthetic weed? Oh, God. Yeah, no, I know exactly what that shit is. I know exactly what that is. That's not weed. I mean, that's just, like... really rough chemicals sprayed onto, like... in, like, housing spices. Like... kitchen spices. That's all it is, really. So you're smoking like whatever the fuck kitchen spices they happened to have, coated in pretty toxic chemicals. So yeah, no, that stuff's not to be fucked with. Permanently fucked something in your neurology. Yeah, that'll do that. Ay vey. Honestly, like, synthetic weed or spice or whatever the fuck it's called, is the reason that I refuse to buy non-legal weed. Like, it's... Yes, I could in fact purchase weed here way cheaper if I just went to a dealer. But if they just... like, are extending their batch or coating it in something else, might not have so much luck. And that stuff's scary. It's like, it costs me like $30-40 more than it would to buy weed legally than it is to get it from somebody else, or even go gray market, which is generally where I go, which is just basically buying bulk stuff that's cheaper. But still coming from legal growers. Is them selling lost product under the table, which is usually where I get my stuff, but it's kind of insane to me that that stuff still exists. One time you ripped a page out of Gideon's and used it. That might be... Okay, so I gotta say, that might be the most stoned hobo thing I think I've ever seen you say in my chat. You one time ripped a page out of a Bible in a hotel room and used it to roll a joint. Wow. That's kind of incredible. I feel like that's something I would see on /r trees at 3 o'clock in the morning and cackle. Wow. The disrespect. I love it. And you had... Okay, that makes it even better. You had rolling papers, but instead you chose to, like,
go after the Bible. That's amazing. All right, Hobo wins the stream. Just flat. I don't know what your prize is, but you won. Keep that mindset. You read about you read about a case you have not verified of a dealer spraying fentanyl on their weed. You know, I hear cases about people spraying fentanyl on literally anything from apples to like in produce stores to weed to whatever the fuck. And I'm at this point, I genuinely believe that people will just be like, they're putting fentanyl on it just to stop people from using it, regardless of what the thing is. Like, write down, like, there was an article that was floating around a bunch of Vancouver tabloid, like, websites relatively recently that turned out to be, like, completely fake. But there was allegedly people spraying fentanyl on kids' playgrounds. It's like, it was a completely fake story, like, wasn't true. And it's like somebody just like wrote this post online and it just got circulated like crazy. And it's to the point where it's just like, it's not that I don't believe it. Like, I'm sure that it's happened, right? Like, I'm sure that somebody's laced. I mean, it's factually true that people lace things with fentanyl that they shouldn't. We got a dwarf with a strange mood, but it's just like, fentanyl, like the tranquilizer, yes. Horse tranquilizer, I think. Pick in general? Is this a picture of you doing what I think you're doing? Oh, hell, admit one. Speaking of, Hobo, I need you to send me an address at some point, so because I need to start mailing off those patches. And I haven't like figured out how I'm going to do it through Patreon just yet, but because I'm currently doing soul searching as to whether or not I'm going to charge people taxes for my Patreon or not. I kind of don't want to, so I might not go through Patreon system and just be like, hey, if you want one, send me your address. That's probably what but I need to get more paper for my label maker, because my label maker's apparently out of paper. I didn't realize I made that many labels with it. You know why Tylenol, etc. have tamper-proof caps these days? Back in the 70s, there was a huge scare of people poisoning bottles of Tylenol, and it sparked a huge panic. Oh, really? This dwarf is making an artifact. Just gonna real quick. Oops, that's the wrong button. Going to real quick forbid everything that isn't adamantine right here. Thank you, Hobo. Yeah, I'll try and get that mailed off on Friday. Let's just make sure this guy gets everything done, so. Good thing they have tamper-proof caps anyway. You know, the tamper-proof caps are a positive, and I didn't realize that there was a scare about people poisoning Tylenol bottles. I don't know. To me, it's like, it's not quite on the same level, but the whole everything has fentanyl in it isn't quite on the same level, but it's close to the same level as the same fear of people poisoning kids' candy on Halloween. It's almost at that level for me. It's just like, okay, like that, sure, that's probably happened once or twice in history, but it's more likely that you'll get hit by a car if you walk outside. It's like just, it is a lot of general fear-mongering. Now, if we're talking about heroin, that's super common. When it comes to heroin, a lot of heroin is fentanyl in it. But I'm not talking about heroin, I'm just talking about weed, so. What are the economics of lacing herb with tranquilizer, Lamar? If you have the strong shit, then people buy it more. And the legal shit is generally significantly stronger than the non-legal shit here. So I could see some fuckwad moron just being like, hey, I'm just gonna slip some of this in here to make it a little stronger, you know? It's just like, I mean, I'm outing myself here, but my neighbor is renting my parking spot, right? Because he has a truck, and so he parked his truck in my parking spot. Fine, rather than parking it on the street. I literally gave it to him for free. I was just like, yeah, you can just park there. I don't need to charge you rent. That's fine. And I may have I think I mentioned this the other day, but like, a couple days after I let him do that, he just handed me 500 grams of weed, which is a lot of weed. More weed than I normally buy. And he's just like, yeah, I got it off my guy, who I've been buying it from for years. Apparently lives on a farm somewhere. I do have a pretty specific area, but I'm not going to say that. So anyway, guy lives on a farm, has a cornfield, grows in the middle of his cornfield outside, and it's nice. It's like maybe a fifth of the strength of the stuff that I'm used to. Maybe. So in order to have the same effects, I need to use so much more than I normally would. To the point where it's like, I don't know if I'm going to finish. I might actually sell most of that batch off to a friend of mine who likes less intense weed and just go buy some legal stuff. Dwarf weed is plump helmets. I mean, Dwarf Fortress has hemp in it, but not quite the same thing. Also, hello, Loki. What's up? We're talking about fun topics today, and I'm watching a dwarf make an artifact, while my other dwarves are, working on a very, 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 very long Congo line hallway for demons. You know, it's good stuff. Yeah, like, you know, that too, Gurgi. The line of weed isn't a, what's it called? Or weed is a gateway drug or whatever the fuck they call it. Whatever that bullshit is. It's not. It's not even remotely addictive. Like, it's a habit, for sure. You can absolutely develop a habit. But it's not addictive. There's no, like, side effects if you don't take it. The only difference between me taking weed and not taking weed is if I stop smoking weed, I don't sleep as well. And the reason I don't sleep as well is because I sleep poorly regardless. Like, I have a lot of sleep disorders, and weed fixes that issue. So for me, it's like, if I just quit, which I have, or stop for a period of time, as I do relatively frequently, it's like, okay, it's like a week of like I sleep kind of like shit, and then I just go get some melatonin and I'm fine. And that's about how it goes. I mean, you can become psychologically dependent on coffee. You can become psychologically dependent on, like, steak. It doesn't mean something is addicting. You can develop a habit and want it and crave it, just like sugar, just like salt, just like any other thing that you put in your body. You could have a psychological dependence on sex or masturbation or video games. World of Warcraft. It's like, that's just how the human brain works, but it's not an addiction. The poison candy during Halloween, truth is that it was done by the parents of the kid that was poisoned and had been put on life insurance, and the kid was trying to kill... Wait, what? And was trying to kill the kid to claim the insurance. That's messed up. I haven't heard that one, but I've heard other stories based on that. Well, that's a new one for me. But psychological dependency is not chemical dependency. So when I say something is addictive or not, that's a chemical dependency that I'm referring to. If you don't have physical side effects when you don't take it, you're not addicted. Also, there we go. Adamantine. Good luck, Dwarf. Make us another valuable artifact. These poor dwarves are all thirsty and hungry. Get back upstairs. I might actually make them like a temporary food storage. If anyone in chat is addicted to cleaning, we need to change addresses. I mean, You should see my, whenever I share pictures of my apartment on social media, Spewer, people are like, holy shit, your place is clean. Because it really is. The only reason I feel the need to elaborate on that whenever I see people saying psychologically dependent on something, it sounds way scarier than it actually is. You mean a meth addiction? Does parallelism count? Probably. Although a mutual friend of me and my friend Kevin once got kind of high on meth and rewired his entire house in 48 hours. He only did it once, to my knowledge. He's only taken meth once, and in that period of time, he rewired his entire house. I say that was probably a productive afternoon, if nothing else. I mean, frankly, seems really productive to me. Trying to get rid of some of this phthalate chunks. They're so much brighter, they're a little hard to look at for me. Or marble, actually. So I'm just building flooring over top of them to just make them look a little nicer. A little bit easier to stare at. And do the same up here, too. Also, chat investments are open if you want to invest your tickets. You did post face with it. It was because of XYZ. Wait, what? But the psychological side effects of your brain can placebo you into thinking it's a psychological addiction. Oh, absolutely. No, totally. I mean, I'm not discounting that bit. It's just saying somebody is psychologically dependent on something doesn't mean that you're addicted to something, though. Also, hey, Wickcode, what's up? Moses, the stoneworker, has created Zeretes Miguru Ushful Malachite amulet and claims it as a Hamley heirloom. What's a guy got to do for a fancy instrument around here? 325,000. Zathel. Outrage blown the oceanic realm. This is a malachite amulet. All craft or ship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with rectangular malachite cabochons and studded with iron and decorated with bayberry wood and turkey bone. This object is adorned with hanging rings of slate gray, devil bone, and turkey leather, and menaces with spikes of slate and gray devil bone. On the item is an image of Cleanse Whiskers, the raw adamantine mug, in raw adamantine. Okay. On the item is an image of Fob Punch Core, the dwarf and pigtail. But, slate gray devil bone. Devil bone and turkey leather. I mean, we don't make devil leather, okay? Although devil leather is the material I want my future metal vest that I don't own yet to be made out of. I mean, come on. That just seems like the appropriate material. Whatever. Let it sit for a bit. It's pretty badass, though. Turkey devil. Ugh, that sounds like, ooh. You know what? I'm not certain I'm ready to insult my family's Thanksgiving cooking on stream publicly. Of devil leather vests. I mean, if we could make leather out of devils, then we could actually make vests out of them in Dwarf Fort. Which would be kind of awesome. Not gonna lie. Be, in fact, kind of awesome. Demon Hunter amulet. Yeah, pretty much. And congrats to the winners. I mean, one thing I do gotta say that this does mean is it does mean that we do have crafts made out of demons now, which is pretty cool. So, Hobo, I actually have a question about concert-related things for you. One of the local music venues in Vancouver, which is referred to as the Commodore Ballroom, is, how do I word this? Is now officially a no-cash venue. So some merch stalls can accept cash if they want to, but all drinks and everything else are debit and credit only. All purchases made directly from them are debit and credit only, and all ticket sales are debit and credit only. Or like Apple Pay or whatever the fuck. My question. Do you think that's an improvement for a loud concert environment? Because one of the most frustrating things for years there was they were always a cash-only venue up until about the beginning of 2020, more or less. And the last few shows I've been to, they've accepted debit. But before that, they were just a... Did they actually have a Commodore? No. But when they were just a cash-only venue, it was always a pain in the ass because like you'd go up to the counter and you'd just be like, I need that one. That's the drink I want. And then they'd bring out the drink that you want, and then they'd be like, it's $9.50. You'd be like, what? And they'd be like, it's $9.50. And you'd be like, I can't hear you. And then they'd write it down. It's $9.50, and then you pay it, and then they hand you change if you're lucky. So it was always kind of a nightmare buying drinks. I think that debit and credit only for music venues is an improvement. Especially because, like, you know, if you don't want to use your credit card, just go buy a Visa gift card. And everybody, like, according to, like, social media for Vancouver, is having a mini conniption fit about how terrible this is. And I'm, like, ecstatic. It's like, fuck yeah, we're moving into the modern era. Get out of this shit. You wish that you had flashcards for common transactions in loud environments. It's, you know, for me, it's like everywhere should accept cash. But if you're a music venue where it's normally so loud that you can't scream over the volume of it, what is even the point? I mean, really. What is even the point? It's ridiculous to think to me that, like, some venues still don't accept card at all. Like, the rickshaws still, for their drinks, is still cash only, which drives me bonkers. Especially because, like, the first few shows I went to after the pandemic, they were all debit and credit. There was no cash because no one was allowed to touch money because people were concerned about spreading viruses. And now we're back to this archaic, like, cash-only shit. I'm like, God damn it. Move into the modern era, lads. Get out of this crap. But I don't know. I hate cash. I hate carrying it. Hate having it. Don't like using it. It's harder for me to track. It's harder for me to track business transactions. Every single bit about it is worse. You see, represent a small group who statistically are unlikely to represent the majority. Oh, absolutely. This is why I was just curious about what Hobo's take was, because I know he goes to loud shows. But he thinks it's stupid, so Hobo's in that minority. I suppose. I don't mind it in venues that like actually have like a bar or areas that are separate from the stage. You see, unlike somebody in the chat, I do my damnedest to like actually, you know, pay my taxes. I like having free healthcare, okay? I'm very careful about paying my taxes. And also having, you know, physical receipts are nowhere near as good as like just going through my bank and being like, where did I spend money? Right, that, done. It's fantastic. Unsuspend that. Unsuspend that, unsuspend that, unsuspend that. All right. You pay them early and everything? Uh-huh. 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 But cash is... you pay all of you pay taxes for all of the transactions that are noticed. Yep. Mm-hmm. I'm just teasing. I mean, cash has its uses, but there's no logical, like, what are you hiding from in a music venue that you need cash? I mean, if you want to buy weed from somebody in the crowd, yeah, bring cash. You're not buying weed at the bar. So, like, fucking bring a debit card, the hell. They know that you're there. You bought a ticket. You probably showed ID at the door. They'll just let you use it to commerce. It's kind of theirs regardless of who has it in hand. I mean, shh, don't say that too loudly. You might scare America into thinking communism. No interest charges on cash purchases? Get a better bank. And also, that's what debit's for, but I don't get interest charges on debit purchases. Or just, you know, have like an online banking app, and then when you leave the venue, pay off your bill. Which I've done before, by the way. I've walked into a restaurant, paid on credit, and then paid it off from my bank account on the way out. I literally did that like twice at PAX. You have a 20 and that's all you can spend. You know what's funny is like I'm way better at budgeting when I'm not using cash. If I'm using like I've heard people like who do that before. I think like my parents do that too, where they use cash for physical budgeting. If I take cash somewhere, odds are very good I won't have that cash when I leave. I'm very, very bad at not just spending money. But if I have a card and I don't know exactly how much is on it, I'm very unlikely to spend money because that's coming straight out of my bank account. Once it's out of my bank account, it doesn't count anymore. If you're in this, you know, it's funny, Hobo. We actually had this discussion. I had this discussion with chat before PAX. This is a very American problem. A very, very American problem. My debit card got compromised once and they drained my entire bank account, right? That happened once. Phoned my bank. I had that money back in 2 hours and a new debit card in hand, which I literally walked into the bank and they handed to me. They changed all my numbers and then they did an investigation. 6 weeks later, I got a phone call saying, yep, that was fraudulent. That was not your fault. They compromised your card. You're good to go. Otherwise, I would have owed them the money back. So I think it depends on your bank. Yes, you do have fraud protections if you have a good bank. But I think the issue there is America has fucking bad banks. Yeah, that's totally fair, but it's I don't know. To me, it's like it's up there with weed's illegal. Shit's backwards. Get into the modern era. Got another dwarf tantruming again. Come on, bud. Hang in there, guy. But yeah, it's actually like kind of wild to me how awful American banks seem to be from your guys' descriptions. But no, it's actually to the point where like people in Canada are more likely to use a debit card than a credit card because debit cards have more protections on them. Credit cards are the ones that don't have protections on them. And credit cards like it's to the point where I feel like, and this is just me being a tinfoil hat person when it comes to credit cards, I feel like they intentionally make credit cards safer to use in the States because they make more money off of them than they do with debit. Whereas it's just like in like here using a debit card is no different than using a credit card securities wise. In fact, my debit card has more securities on it because I need to type in a PIN even if I tap. Tap, PIN, done. Whereas my credit card's just like insert chip, remove chip, that's it. Like there's way less protections on my credit card than there is on my debit card. What about orange? Frog? We have an orange one here. Of course, we also have red and blue, but... Although our red and blue is flipped. Because in Canada, blue is conservative and red is liberal. And then we also have everybody else. Voice over IP services. You know, you're actually not wrong. It's probably like Google Voice who's making that money. Or like Skype. Can you spoof calls with Skype? I think you can spoof numbers with Skype. I know you can do it with Google Voice. And I know that you can spoof phone numbers with Google Voice because I've done it. Or at least area codes. They changed it around in 2000? Really? So it doesn't change the fact that it's like flipped and it confuses me sometimes. Sometimes. Let's continue doing this. Trying to make this less abrasive on the eyes and also getting rid of a lot of stone blocks or stone chunks while we're at it. Anyway, chat room, you guys in America need to make your banks less shit. Like, seriously. Google actually starts a spam engine where down the... Yes, Google will do 8 billion spam in like a day. Yep. Mm-hmm. I'm just imagining canned ham raining from the skies for whatever it's worth. I know that's not what you're talking about, but that's what my brain's telling me. Caravan from the Dwarves have arrived, I think. There they are. Look at that. Wow, that's a bunch of disorderly conducts. Bright side, I'm getting pretty good doctors. All of these random tantrums. I don't know if that's fair to say. I mean, there's a lot of scam baiters, but there's nowhere near as many scam baiters as there is scammers, unfortunately. And just the companies that allow scams to exist, removing them from existing would be much more efficient. Like, scam baiters are like a micro minority. It's like saying that all video game marketing is done by Twitch streamers. It's like, sure, like, we're a portion, but like putting a billboard on the side of a bus that says Call of Duty is still far more effective in a lot of ways. Oh, fair enough. But like, still, they're not doing much. Is like, that's all I'll say. Scam baiters don't do much. Like, they certainly do good work, but it's they're not doing as much as you make it seem with that comment. Shoutouts to Kit Boga. My boy Kit, who once rated me with 15,000 people, including T-Pain. It's the most viewers I've ever had. It's always fun to hear scammers get mega upset. I'll be completely honest. It just kind of started to turn into human suffering for me after a while. I can't stand that type of content. I've kind of found. Like, I don't enjoy either end of it. I don't enjoy the scammers getting wrecked, and I don't enjoy listening to the scam baiters. Like, it's this weird balance of, like, just unpleasant to watch and awkward for me, but it's good that people like it. It's good that they get the numbers to make it a profitable business to just go around and fuck with them. Because someone has to. But it's also not a solution, unfortunately. It's creating this weird ecosystem that's suddenly dependent on scammers, because, like, the actual, like, question for me is, like, okay, so what do they all do when all the scammers are gone? Is that when they retire? Like, I don't know. A lot of people are making that into their career. Can't have one without the other. Sure. But scam baiters are, like I said, a very wide variety of people. I mean, what they need is what scam call centers, what they need to take out scam call centers is they need, like, a government funded series of private investigators to literally just go after these guys, but it's also never going to happen, so it doesn't really matter. Ooh, it's a little warm in here. Don't think it's that lava shaft right there. I'm pretty sure it's just my apartment's kind of warm right now. We'll let them finish this chunk of floor. Best of luck, dwarves. You have a very stressful appointment for your pet. Well, I hope that it goes well, and I hope that your pet's going to be in good health. Like what the FBI was supposed to do originally. Honestly, I have no idea what the FBI was supposed to be. Like, genuinely. If I have any lava in my apartment, I haven't checked in the last 40 minutes or so, but some might be spilling out of my CPU. Anti-con and gangster stuff? Sure, but like... I guess from the perspective of somebody who has no direct involvement or real knowledge of the FBI outside of, like, TV drama and, like, media, I suppose, I have no fucking idea what they're supposed to be. Obviously, I have an idea, but it's, like, minimal at best. Put it blunt. So, chat, how do we feel about a little bit of Songs of Six this evening? What do you think? It's popular with the YouTubes. It's a simple game for me to play. And I'm feeling a little bit too brain mushed this evening to play Zorbus or roguelikes. Well, I think I'm going to let these dwarves finish this big old construction project I've got them doing. By that, I mean all of these floors. And then we're going to go play some Songs of Six. We're going to start a new city. But this is going to be where we will trap demons tomorrow. Or hopefully trap demons tomorrow. So the plan is to fill this whole thing up with raising and lowering drawbridges, hook the whole thing up to a lever room, and then let them in. Hook all of the levers up, and try and trap them in there and crush them. That's going to be the goal. That, or alternatively make a second room and try and funnel them into there and make like a demon zoo or something, but one thing at a time. I'm thinking initially we just trap them in there and then we'll figure out where to go from there once we've trapped them in. I mean, definitely there's a lot of good stories, but it's like, a lot of media portrays the FBI as just like shitty cops with too much power. Like, I think they're misrepresented a lot of the time, especially in like fiction. You know what? Actually, let's just cancel all this. Because all of this side is a bit much. And I'm seeing hungry and thirsty dwarves, and having hungry, thirsty dwarves is not good. There we go. That's going to give a lot of them a brief break. Go here and unsuspend all of the suspended jobs. And they'll come in. Do the last of these bits. Dwarfing about his very thirsty work. When you put it that way, it sounds like something very different. Let's let them finish smoothing that. Gotten a lot of these boulders out of here already. We're going to go through, we're going to cut out all of those white walls in the center bits, fill them in with diorite instead of the phthalite. We're going to go down to this bottom corner. We're going to fill that all in with diorite. I do the same with this half of it, fill it all in with diorite. Then maybe like draw a cool symbol on the ground with the phalite, get all the gems out of there. And dwarfing is professional, crazy, and alcoholic. Don't forget that bit. So wait, hold on. If being a full-time dwarf is professional crazy, then what is a person who streams Dwarf Fortress? What am I? What does that make me? A dwarf watcher? I think I prefer the term dwarf walker. You know, it's like I'm like a dog walker, but for dwarves. Professional crazy voyeurism. Oof. Zookeeper of crazy. Man, my dwarves aren't that crazy. The things we fight kind of can be, but it's like herding chickens. I've always said that playing Dwarf Fortress is like trying to herd a colony of ants. Which isn't impossible, but not easy. Except ants are like more indestructible than dwarves, so... And there we go. Sealing off the last of them. Hells yeah. All right, chat. So, if you're sticking around, if I could get a round of beers, that would be awesome. But we're going to go jump over to Songs of Six now, I think. Both will bite you when given the opportunity. Yeah, except dwarves might bite you in the lower back left tooth and then shake you around by it and then spit you out. And then they'll bite you by the eyeball and then shake you around again, destroying the eyeball. Then they'll bite you by the left foot on the third toe and hope they don't start chewing. And the chickens won't hit you with their own babies. I mean, not intentionally. Although dwarves don't actually hit baddies with their babies anymore. They do, however, still use them as shields. But that's fine, because it doesn't matter what material the shield is made out of. Shields are indestructible, so frankly, baby is just as good a shield as any. Because it literally treats the baby as a shield.